Okay, before we start this review, I have got to put in this edit that I saw on X. Absolutely marvelous.
Impressive. Standing backflip.
Boys and girls, children of all ages, and everything in between of all ages, shapes, sizes, and orifices. Welcome to the Court Martial Podcast, the podcast made by wrestling fans, for wrestling fans, for our review of the Royal Regression. The Royal Rumble 2025, where we turn back the clock and reminisce about a time we really don't want to. And joining me to do this wonderful review is a man who is not necessarily the man of the hour, but he is a man who can go a lot longer if you give him the credit, because honestly, considering how long that he's waited, how 27, 28 in about 10 months, this man has put the work in to be as patient. He's not a minute man. He's not a man of the hour. He's the man of literally decades. JoshAgeddon, welcome to the show, my friend.
Of all of the introductions you've given me on this program, that is definitely one of them.
Yes.
Welcome
that
also.
That is one of the ones of all time.
Welcome also to the Totally Awesome Podcast, the TAP, the worst podcast you've ever heard. So bad it might just make you tap out.
And boy, are we living up to that moniker today.
As Sean said, put it so eloquently, we watched the 2025 Royal Rumble. Man, if Mixed Bag were a pay-per-view.
No, unfortunately, Mixed Bag is an album, but we'll get to the plug-in a little bit.
Both of them.
We'll get to the plug-in just a little bit. But speaking of plugs, we've got our dealer from the West Coast.
Yes, we do.
Here to bring us some high-quality entertainment, as the only way we know how. Now, sadly, Skyler isn't here in his airplane hangar today.
Or his vacuum cleaner.
Instead, the vacuum cleaner inside the airplane hangar.
Inside a large aquarium.
That's right, which apparently Baron Corbin is cleaning up while he's on the off of WWE. But in any case, we have a third member of this. It is the return of Grammar Notes Skyler. And if you don't mind, JoshAgeddon, because we both got these notes, I will start with the introduction and then we'll trade on and off from there.
Sounds good to me.
All right, here we go. Well then, Royal Rumble 2025 came and gone on February 1st, 2025 at the Department of the Redundancy Department.
And he said that he revised these notes, so...
And we are off and running, ladies and gentlemen. January was so long, and yet it did not have the Royal Rumble in it.
There's no space between 2025 and the parentheses. Just go on.
It was also a full run-on sentence in parentheses after the sentence.
We should have named this review No Mercy for Skyler. This is No Mercy.
We're one sentence in, and we have already obliterated.
We're not even a sentence in. We're barely a sentence in.
Yes, we're two run-on sentences in, put in as one sentence and a parenthetical. And we'll start the next sentence with
We love you, Skyler. We love you very much.
We love you so much, man. I hope Skyler's been going through some stuff. I'm not at liberty to say anything about it, but we love Skyler. And don't forget to give Skyler all the support you can by liking, sharing, and subscribing to this podcast and going back and watching all of those NWL shows that were almost as good as the ACPW.
Yeah, to hashtag Save a Skyler today. It's our Save a Skyler fund.
And now we're just crossing through the portal.
Well, with grammar this good, we might as well accidentally trip into a portal.
Folks, we're going to be there's going to be a lot of links in the description. Just take a look at all. Everything relates to everything we're saying right now that we're laughing at ourselves about can be explained down below.
There's going to be so many links in the description that we're going to open our own Zelda franchise.
Yeah, literally. Absolutely. And there's almost too many links there if you ask me. But here we go. Where was I? Oh, right. Second sentence. And with it, we have two new Royal Rumble winners with absolutely nobody hated. Ellipses points only have 3 dots, Skyler, just for reference.
I was going to say the same thing.
If only you listeners could have been a fly on the way as me. Sean and Joshua watched this show together.
Arm in arm.
Our group chat was chaotic all night, kind of like this opening paragraph. And chaos is a good way to describe this show. Not in the AEW chaos way, and then in all bold, fuck Tony Khan, count one, where this show sucks and everything booked sucks. More so, the chaos is in the sense that this show had a lot of good things and ended with some questionable booking. It will show in these notes, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, but I ended up coming out of this show with the most hope of the three of us. Or I have been so ground down to the bone by Vince McMahon. Fuck you, Vince, count one. I like how he capitalized count for Vince, but not for Tony. And AEW booking, he did it again. Fuck Tony Khan, count two.
Just that added shade, that added disrespect.
Folks, if you stay through to the end of the episode, we're going to post these notes, and you can read along with us.
We'll put the notes as a link in the description. It's a never-ending description.
Go down into the sea of links down in the description. Fuck Linktree. We're going down to... There's just going to be a monstrous list of links, and one of those is going to be a link to these notes.
Yeah. That's top of the description for me, man.
That's either way, let's get started. I couldn't agree more, Skyler.
Oh, yeah. So,
wow.
Sean, before we really get started, I told you this before we started recording, but I have some stats of my own, and we'll go through them as we talk about each match. I installed the YouTube Restore Dislikes extension on my PC, and I have both Charlotte Flair wins the Women's Royal Rumble from WWE's own YouTube channel, and Jey Uso wins the Men's Royal Rumble on WWE's YouTube channel. Once we get to the end of each match as far as our review, I will read to you what I'm looking at, the current, because we're recording this on Monday, the 3rd of February. Yes. I'm going to give you the current like to dislike ratio on each match as we go through this.
Well, no show likes getting ratioed. No one likes getting ratioed, but it's going to happen here today.
It's gotten substantially worse.
But we're burying the lead here a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we really haven't gotten into any of the deal of that. They start with and this is one of the few times that my opening line that I write before the show starts was kind of incorrect. Mm-hmm. This will be long, fun, and full of milk. Now, that's not technically incorrect because I did have mostly fun. Mm-hmm. But there were just some things.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
There were just some things. Namely, Alicia Taylor, stop. Just stop.
She is dollar store Sam Irvin.
Well, it's not even that. Who says Fanny McMahon?
Maybe Triple H in the bedroom?
Fanny.
I used to have I used to have a book about a three-legged cat named Fanny.
Well, this is that's probably a good image for this show. So folks, keep that in mind as we continue down through this whole thing. Stephanie comes down and does the welcome to the show. Thanks for giving us your money.
Well, actually, Sean, before we get started with the whole thing, we have yet to really give our overall opinion of the show, like just in general.
All right. Well, I mean, I said it like I mostly had fun, but there were some things. That's my piece. What's your piece?
My piece is I had a roller coaster of emotions over the past 48 hours.
Yes, you have.
Like, if you follow one of the millions and millions of links in the description, if you follow me on X, you will see a substantial increase in the amount of tweets that I sent at around 10 o'clock p.m. Saturday night.
That was 10:35.
And the amount of times I used the word fuck increased by a lot. But
I could imagine.
So, long story short, About a week or so ago, I asked because I work at Pizza Hut. I deliver pizza.
Yeah, because the context to this is really important
Yes.
as to why.
Yes.
Why you ended up the way you ended up over the last 48 hours.
I normally catch the replay of whatever show. And I was like, you know what? This is the Royal Rumble. I'm excited. So, boss lady at work, Pizza Hut McBoss lady. I requested the 1st of February, where not off, but so I could work the morning shift, so I could be home and watch the Royal Rumble live. And she obliged. And actually, believe it or not, the morning shift as a delivery driver is much better. That you make more money in the evening because more people are ordering, but it's way less chaotic and more streamlined, and it just goes by faster if you work in the morning. So I was having a good day, and then me and my mom went to a restaurant called Joe Mars, and then we got back to the house because I also wanted to watch the show live with my mom. And there's actually a YouTube short that did not age well that I recorded and put on YouTube of me and my mom beginning to watch the Royal Rumble, and also my mom's commentary while we were watching was fucking hilarious.
I would also say, I don't mean to interrupt you, but on that short, which is in the description somewhere,
yeah.
But on that short, this is going to be, we're going to maximize all 5,000 of those description characters.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be nonstop blue text as you just keep scrolling all the way down.
Yeah.
But in any case, I loved at the very end of that when your mom was like, yay, I'm here. And then the last frame is her going back to just utter misery. Keep that in mind for the rest of the night, folks.
Dude, the warning signs were there.
Even your mom knew what was about to happen.
Like, she didn't know, but she knew.
Yeah.
So I was so excited that I finally got to watch a show live. 4 hours later, I was like, I regret every decision I've ever made up to this point.
Yeah.
I got the morning shift for this. And I was furious.
What makes it so funny to me, and I don't mean to laugh at your misfortune.
Oh, but feel free.
It is kind of funny because this show, and I said this multiple times on the night, it was like this show was made to punish you for that decision.
Yes.
It was specifically made to piss you, JoshAgeddon, off.
Yes.
And I found actually a good amount of hilarity in it, which is why I think I might have enjoyed the show a little bit more, knowing it was pissing you off somewhat.
Dude, I feel like every time something, you've known me for a long time. You know what I like and what I dislike. I guarantee
think that's why I was laughing so much about it.
Every time something happened, I bet you were like, "Oh, I cannot wait to read the group chat."
I think that's why I popped so much at the end of this opening match, which we're going to talk about in a second.
But overall, at first, I was insanely pissed, and I hated this show. But as I've had, 48 hours to digest it, I'm now like, I understand why they did it. I just don't necessarily agree. This was not a bad show. I would actually say this was a good-ish show with, as Skyler said, some questionable decision-making.
Yeah. And it's, to some, it might be considered a shark-jumping kind of pay-per-view when it comes to the Triple H administration. But I'm going to make the case for not, actually.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done.
Initially, I was furious, but now that I've had some time to think about it, again, I don't agree, but I understand why they did what they did.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing that's different. We said a few times that the show felt like it was, good old Vinny was booking it based on the winners.
Yeah.
Right? And how it was done and the finals, and we're going to talk about all that. But the biggest difference is that it's not like these didn't make storyline logistical sense.
Yeah.
Right? With Vince, it was off the rails.
with Vince, it was full on dementia. Like, do you remember the 2022 Royal Rumble?
The one that Brock won? Yeah.
It was Ronda?
Yeah.
That was infinitely worse. That was way worse than this one.
Yeah. well, and also I have to give Triple H and Shawn Michaels credit. The talent pool of women is improving somewhat.
It's getting there. Baby steps.
It's improving somewhat. I think the way that the women were from that period of 2018 to 2022, most of 2022, into parts of 2023 was really rough.
Yeah.
And I think this was maybe, and now we might as well hit that transition on iMovie, because here comes the 30-woman Royal Rumble match.
Yeah.
Now that we're basically full-blown talking about it here.
Yeah.
Despite the winner, this to me felt like the most balanced talent roster that the women's Rumble has had.
Agreed.
And I found this to be, other than the victor, one of the most fun Rumbles that the women have had to date.
I agree.
A lot of them have been a slog to get through. This kind of kept going.
Yeah, for the most part, I thought this was, I wouldn't say a good Rumble, but a decent one until the finish. There's going to be a lot of that on this show. I enjoyed it until the finish.
Yeah, we've said that a lot in the past.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the thing, folks, is you're going to hear some similar things to Vince administration stuff that we say here. But at the end, we'll talk about what separates it kind of at the end, I think. But Io comes out first.
That right there. I'm going to stop you right. That was, as soon as Io Sky walked out first, I immediately went, fuck. Because I knew before the show even started that Charlotte was probably going to win.
If she was coming back, if she was in it, she was winning it.
The second I saw Io walk out first, I was like, well, there goes that. There goes that pipe dream.
Well, it didn't have to be, though.
But, Rhea Ripley won the Women's Rumble at number 1 2 years ago, and I don't think that they're going to do another number 1 for at least a couple of years.
Well, and that makes sense, too, because Bayley came in third, which is basically 1.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Io, I thought, was a good, for what number 1 entails, it goes to show that WWE still thinks very highly of her.
Agreed.
And she's earned it. She got a pretty impressive pop for someone who does not cut many promos.
She's getting over.
She is getting over. She's been over. She has those moments where she's got the blue and yellow, or the purple and yellow trash can, and we go, oh.
Yeah.
But everybody is guilty of that on this show somewhere and somewhat.
Yeah.
But then Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, and Wade Barrett, which was an interesting group,
dude,
started talking. They get to the Slim Jim bit, and they started saying meat stick, and then they wouldn't stop saying meat stick. I'm like, guys, please stop.
I'm not gonna lie, I was dying.
I was laughing, but I was like, I never want to hear Michael Cole say the phrase meat stick ever again.
Dude, I don't know what it is, but whenever it's the Royal Rumble, under the Triple H administration, he's just like, guys, go ham, have fun. This is your time to shine. What else are you going to
do? They give them some freedom. The one thing that has really softened a lot of the blow of these shows is the commentary is listenable.
Yeah.
Even if the show sucks, the commentary is listenable.
And at times, delightfully unhinged.
Yeah, which makes it more enjoyable on the whole. If you put this Royal Rumble card in the lap of, I almost called him Eclipse, Excalibur and Tony Schiavone, we would be in misery town.
I would have jammed a rusty fork in both of my ears.
I would have had to have watched the show muted and literally done the commentary myself.
This is a great show. I'm having so much fun. That's a good call, Sean.
That's a good call, Sean.
Morgan is going to be going into running 2, and again, wait for number 3 at a 30 and 90-second interval with the diamond. And here comes. It's like,
Jesus.
Calm down.
And this person had a feud with this person 100 years ago in Japan.
And I remember when I stared at Liv Morgan's left buttock at PWG 2016.
Ugh.
She was 18 and 2 months and 16 days at the time. And anyway, can you see? We don't need fuck Tony Khan counters. We just say that, and that basically says all of it. But the point being is that this commentary is fun.
Yeah.
But it is Liv Morgan who comes out second, which I know thrilled you. But it is.
I would have preferred her winning over what we got, but yeah.
But it was interesting to me because I do think to some degree, Liv Morgan has kind of proved that she's okay.
She's improving, and I think that what's improved about her most is she's found her groove as far as like a character is concerned.
Her personality, yeah. You know, and I actually think that she was perfect for an elimination later on, which we'll talk about soon.
She's the chicken shit, but very cocky. Like you just want to slap the smile off of her face. Irritating heel. She's a good irritating heel.
Well, and her and Dominic, you know, that really brought out the best of her, I think.
Although I will say there's one part of that outfit with Liv Morgan that has not worked. And when we get to her later on, dude, my favorite thing is becoming just laughing at Raquel, but we'll get to her later.
Oh, God. Well, let's not talk about parts of the outfit that don't work until it's time to talk about that.
Yeah.
Here comes Skyler's betrothed, Roxanne Perez.
Also, real quick.
Yes.
Okay, my favorite thing on this show was the ladder match. My second favorite thing on this show was the way they produced both Rumble matches with this fucking graphic at the lower fifth of the screen. Absolutely incredible.
Dare I say sports-based presentation?
Yeah, eat a dick, Tony Khan.
Yeah,
this
is how someone who actually knows what sports are supposed to look and feel like does it.
This was incredible. Like this, it kept track of who's in the ring, how many people are active in the ring, how many people have been eliminated, who has eliminated who, how long whoever's been in the match, and little factoids about things that they've accomplished, whether or not they've won the Rumble in the past or the year before. It was incredible. I loved it.
Yeah, and that was meaningful statistics, not this is their AEW record and here's an actual timer as to when the next person's coming out, because that kills the flow of the whole match.
Yeah.
You know, it's like having it at the exact timed intervals that they say they are kills the vibe of the match. Yeah. Because some people need more time than others. Some people's entrances take 6 times as long.
Yeah.
You know?
Some people's entrances have fireworks.
Yeah. All you really need is the 10-second counter.
Yeah.
And the people will still stand up and look at the Tron, and dude, you got them. That
was another one of my favorite things about this show and one of my favorite things about the Rumble in general is just watching the crowd jump to their feet when the timer is on there, because they're like, it just makes it feel that much more exciting.
Although there was somebody, and I forget who it was. I don't know whether it was this Rumble or the next one, where that happened and it was a return, and somebody said like everyone in this arena is on their feet, and then they cut to a shot and 2/3 of the crowd is sitting down.
Oh, when we get to one of the in-between segments between Rumbles, Michael Cole, we'll get to it, but Michael Cole tried to spin it as people were excited, and they showed people looking bored out of their fucking minds, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, you know, and that's hard.
And that was one of those Vince era-esque things of trying to pretend that something is happening when it's clearly not.
Yeah, but I mean, what else are you supposed to do? Bury your business, you know, and say, well, that was flatter than hell, wasn't it? All right, let's move on, I guess.
They better be glad they didn't put me on commentary, because that's exactly what I fucking would have done.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you know they'll leave that to pivoting and kayfabe over the next several weeks, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But in any case, out comes Flappy Bird. And this led to one of my favorite moments of commentary on the whole night, when Pat's like, "Wait, do you get a caw?" He's like, "What? I don't caw." He's like, "No, you got a caw." And then she does the flappy thing, or the music thing does the flappy thing, and they go, "A caw." And Michael Cole's just like, terrible. Just terrible.
Oh, that was good.
It was spectacular.
I love it when they're self-aware, like when they're like they do something goofy and they're like, "That was so fucking dumb."
I love when they're just having fun.
Yeah.
Because it makes me have fun when they're having fun.
It made me think of when me and you were doing commentary for one of our shows and one of us just says something off the wall stupid and we're both like, "That was fucking dumb." And we just laugh at each other.
Folks, we would put an example of what that is in the description, but there are literally so many videos.
There's only so much real estate down there.
We don't have the description space to recount every time that's happened.
No, I'm worried we're gonna crash the fucking website.
Well, speaking of things that crashed, as Lyra Valkyria does a good job in the ring, and then all of a sudden, almost titties.
I felt bad. Like, when this happened, I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, so what happened was her neck thing snapped, right?
Yeah.
Her little neck circlet snapped, and then it dropped everything. And Lyra kind of throws somebody to the corner, and props to Liv Morgan for this.
Yeah.
Liv sees that Lyra's having a moment and goes, "Let me drop kick the shit out of you in the corner."
I'm going to drop kick you so your titties will get off the camera.
No, I was like, I swore, I'm like, Liv, god damn.
Liv was like,
so
Lyra,
bad.
this is a family show, damn it.
But it was done so that Jessica Carr could go and fix it and, give a little patch to it, which was heads up thinking from Liv Morgan, and everyone who knew what just happened was like, okay, good on you.
I don't know what the name of that one black female referee is, but she got a pop for fixing that little issue.
Yeah, that wasn't Jessica Carr. I'm sorry. I forget what her name is.
Yeah, she got a pop.
Right. Yeah, well, because it's doing her a solid.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that are not solid, in comes B-Fab.
Oh, Lord. This was one of my mom's moments on the show. When B-Fab came out, my mom was like, "Joshua, what is a B-Fab?" And my response was, "I don't know."
No one knows.
No, I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Well, I literally was like, "Mom, I don't know. She's a jobber."
Well, I don't know. B-Fab is bad.
she
got 2 kicks in, and I went,
no.
Kind of.
She kind of got 2 kicks in.
Yeah. No, it was rough. It was rough.
She is
but
she is greener than
up to this point.
She is greener than goose shit.
Yeah, and she's been there a while.
Yeah.
And this is the point where Skyler started bitching about so many female managers wrestling in this Rumble, which I guess you can make the case for.
Yeah.
Some of them are better than others. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Like, I would take a Zelina Vega over that.
As probably the most notorious Zelina Vega hater on this program. I'm a Zelina Vega hater on this program here. Yeah, I would agree. Although she also, it's funny because whenever she comes out, I immediately text group chat, "Why does she still think she's a wrestler?" Like on point every time.
She wasn't bad this time. She didn't do anything.
She did. She had one cool spot, and she's fucking tiny.
And that's it. And when we get to her, we'll talk about all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ivy Nile comes out, and I like this presentation for her way better than what she was doing before.
She actually has like this heel American made thing with her is just what she needed.
It works. She's coming into her own, and I was a doubter, as you know.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see it.
In your defense, in your defense, the last time we saw her, she did not look great.
Agreed. This was better for me. I'm like, okay, I could see this working.
And I'm actually looking forward to her versus Bird Girl for the IC title.
Bird
Girl. We got Zelina Vega versus Bird Girl.
Coming soon to TAWTF.
Link in the description. While I'm having a stroke.
Yeah. Well, but here's an interesting thing, because I said this presentation is better for Ivy Nile, but Jordan does this gimmick better.
Yeah, basically.
And very soon after that, I mean, we got a few more people in. As I said, the decos, as you mentioned, were awesome. Of how many women were in there, how many were eliminated, who's in play, who's left, who's up next.
I will say, it did get to a point where there were like 15 fucking people in the ring, and that's just way too many bodies.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a second, because Bianca Belair comes in and everyone's like, "Hey, still pop for Bianca."
Yeah,
they still pop for Bianca. I think that it's just that
honestly,
she needs something else.
Up to this point, the Rumble was fine. But honestly, when Bianca came in, it started gradually increasing in quality. Which, no shit, it's Bianca.
Agreed. I mean, and she's earned all of that. And but then we get to one of the dumbest spots. Bianca gets who's it's in the corner and does 5 or 6 punches. Then gets Ivy Nile in the corner. She flips and she crashes in there. Gets 3 or 4 punches. Does another backflip. A second gets in there and does a punch. And then finally, I forget who it was. Maybe Chelsea Green or Bob Backlund.
There were so many people in the corner that she was punching and backflipping over.
Well, they get 4 people there, and then if you go back and watch this, because it was so stupid, it was funny. 4 women are stacked up, and Bianca's finally, she didn't look back anymore, so she must have known nobody else was coming, and started doing the 10 punches in the corner, and all 4 women, 3 of whom are not getting hit by Bianca. All 4 of them sell these 10 punches.
Yeah.
There was head bobbing.
But I will say, the crowd and my mom loved it.
The crowd were eating it up, and it just the absurdity of how it looked was just funny to me.
Yeah. Pro wrestling, ladies and gentlemen.
To silly stuff like that. But yeah, that was something. That was, and then your 3 favorite people came.
Why are we still doing this?
Well, here's the problem. By the time they all got eliminated, they were getting good reactions. I'm serious. They were getting heat. They were figuring out how to do it. And actually, there were some parts of these 3 that I did not hate. Shayna Baszler's key lock suplex looked awesome.
Zoe Stark, as much shit as I give her for her absurd lack of a personality, she had a moment where I actually was like, okay, I can dig that, because she tried to go for that really cool, the one move that she does really well, that really crazy looking springboard missile dropkick. She slipped, and in midair, she was like, fuck it, I'll do a clothesline. That was a solid recovery.
Yeah.
And it didn't look bad.
She does well. She doesn't do well, but she did well recovering from the one move that she does well that she didn't do well.
Yeah. Good luck following that.
Yeah.
But the funniest part was when my mom was like, so those 3 are a team, right? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, what'd you say their name was? And I was just like, oh no. Mom, their name is the Pure Fusion Collective. And my mom just looked at me and she said, the Pure what? And I was like, don't worry about it, Mom. They're going to lose. And she was like, okay, the Pure what? And I was like, don't worry about it, Mom.
You know what they should do? You just occurred to me. They should all get like Yu-Gi-Oh anime hair, and they should call themselves the Polymerization Fusion Card. I mean, there's a link to what that card looks like and does in the description.
Well, knowing 2 of their proclivities, they probably are polyamorous, but we're gonna move right along past that.
Well, but I will say this is that that Sonya comes in and her spear was gnarly.
Yeah.
But then we get to this point, and I forget who it was. Maybe it was Bailey when she came in and had her fire. I've got another crotchety, old man Sean's coming back out from behind the corner on the rocking chair.
His like your old man Sean's hand is like breaking through all the links in the description, rising from the ashes.
Yes, this is my cranky Kong moment. Too many people do kip-ups.
I agree.
A kip-up used to mean something, and now like 15 people did it, and nobody gave a shit any of the times it was done.
There was like 20 of them in the Women's Royal Rumble alone.
There is one person who should be doing the kip-up. You know who that person is?
Who is that?
Drew McIntyre.
Agreed.
It's the only person it's impressive that he's doing it. Everybody else, it's just people.
There weren't that many in the Men's Rumble. There was like a couple, maybe. But there was like several in the Women's Rumble.
Yeah, the same thing with the spear. Too many people do the spear. Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, Charlotte.
Ugh.
Braun, Braun Breaker, it should be, I will allow 2 people. Roman Reigns, because he's been doing it long enough now that, like, you can't take it away from him. And Braun Breaker, because his is uniquely different because of how fucking fast he is when he does it.
Dude, we will get to him later. I'm in love.
Me too. Everybody else, stop it.
Yes.
Get some help.
Yes.
But anyway, so the but I will say, to Sonya Deville's credit, her spear looked pretty good. It was the one thing that Sonya did, and it was the only thing that anybody cared about.
She also did her move, Deville's Advocate, and I explained the pun to my mom, and my mom just rolled her eyes.
Yeah, they wouldn't do a Cruella DeVille reference, but they'll go that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sean O'Haire is tossing and turning around in his grave.
Yeah. Rest in peace to a guy who I have actually not seen a whole lot of his work, but then they get rid of the PFC all in one throw, and then Pat McAfee said something that I thought you appreciate. He said, "That's got to be the universe talking."
Yeah.
Maybe that's a sign, Pure Fusion Collective.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I wouldn't hate them as a trio if they would just change their fucking name. Like,
the name is stupid.
The name is the really worst. It is literally 3 words glued together.
No, you know what? I get the 6th. I see. I'm on the spectrum enough to understand the line of reasoning here. This is the reason they did this is that they are all known for some level of MMA striking of some description, right? Sonya Deville was in the UFC for a hot cup of coffee. Shayna Baszler was in there for a hot cup of tea. And Zoe Stark, I think just she knows MMA. I don't know what her background is. And somebody in the comments, leave a comment and let me know what her background is. But the idea is they're all fusions of MMA styles like jiu-jitsu and karate and Krav Maga and capoeira and all these things. Here's the problem. None of them are known for any one specific discipline.
Yeah.
So you can't say that they're a fusion when they're all just mutts of MMA. You should call them the MMA mutts. And they come out there in brown bulldog outfits.
Their team name is like if 3 words tried to do the fusion dance and screwed it up, and we got the fat version of that. It's just the name is just too much.
The name's rough.
Yeah.
The name is rough. But speaking of rough, JoshAgeddon, I have found the equivalent of you to Braun Strowman for me.
Oh no.
That would be Maxine.
Yeah. My mom.
I thought
when she came out, my mom said, "Good Lord."
Yeah. I thought B-Fab was bad. Oh no.
Oh Nelly.
Oh no.
At least the quote-unquote kicks that B-Fab threw connected. Dear God. The kick that Maxine threw. Like, there was like a football stadium in length.
It felt more like she was practicing a can-can than she was trying to actually throw her leg at somebody.
Dude, when she did the caterpillar, my mom cringed and closed her eyes and like face-palmed and said, "That is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen." My mom's commentary
That was probably, sadly, the thing I enjoyed the most about this.
Dude, my mom would be a good fit for this podcast because like she is the most casual of casual wrestling fan, but she like calls shit out just like we do. She was like, "That was so stupid."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and speaking, well, I can't even say that. So the Maxine, she did her thing, and then the PFC left, and then Chelsea Green showed up, and I got to admit to you, Josh, again, I don't watch the television, but when the hell did Chelsea Green get this over?
Oh, she has been this over for like a good 2 months.
I was shocked.
Dude.
I was genuinely shocked. I'm like, oh my God.
Dude, we watched the first edition of Saturday Night's Main Event, her and Mia Yim, and I'm going to call her Mia Yim because Meechin is stupid, and we'll get to that later. But her match with Mia Yim for the women's U.S. title, honestly, I know that's the match you skipped. You shouldn't have. The match was fine, but the crowd went absolutely butt-fucking insane when Chelsea Green won the U.S. title. That U.S. title tournament got Chelsea Green over like Rover.
That's fascinating to me. But you know what? I could see why people are entertained by her.
She's very entertaining.
She lends herself to kind of that cockamamie, kind of the over-the-top, I don't want to say like a Santina or R-Truth because she knows where to cap it off.
Yeah.
Right, before it goes into the outlandish. But she's got the balance of that to get the comedic stuff over in a really funny way.
And she's decent in the ring.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, she's got enough skill in the ring to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's to her credit. But it was still just surprising to me. But then this match started deteriorating, and this is where I said we need a ring cleanse.
Oh boy, maybe you shouldn't have asked for such a thing, Sean, because did we get it later.
Here's the funny thing about that, because basically from this moment on, I was starting to be like, when's Nia showing up? Because I was actually waiting for her to show up. Like, come on, Nia, we need to get rid of half of these people. When Piper Niven showed up, I thought that was going to do it. No,
dude,
we're just
okay, pause right there. Piper Niven came out. This was the my mom moment of the show. You know what my mom said the second she saw Piper Niven?
I'm afraid.
My mom said, she's fat! My mom cut a Scott Steiner promo on this poor woman, and I was howling.
I bet.
It was, dude, if you were there, you would have been rolling.
I'm sure.
She literally cut the mother of all Scott Steiner Samoa Joe promos. It was hysterical.
Well, that's it's not. I feel bad for Piper because they want her so bad to be menacing, and she's just like, I want to get a beer with her.
The problem is that the Vince era. She came in at the tail end of the Vince era when he was.
Doudrop basically killed that career.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
So it's not even her. It's Vince's fault, not even hers, and she's still trying to recover from that.
Well, and you talk about careers that were dead at the start, and then there's somebody who came in whose career refuses to die. Natalia.
And my mom was like, oh, I know this person.
Yeah. I won't lie to you. I laughed at this one because I'm like, well, we see her literally once a year. This is like her Undertaker at WrestleMania spot. Is Natty coming out for
and she never wins.
Yeah, except it's a different kind of streak. And now she can't, right? And now there's no way Natalia could possibly win a Rumble at this point.
I would be fine. I would be fine with her at some point winning the women's Intercontinental title and then retiring.
Sure. I could see that too. I like Natty, by the way. I'm not. That's not a knock or criticism. It's just,
me too.
It's kind of just exhaustion with her at this point.
She's the female Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah. It's but in any case, then comes Jordynne Grace.
Oh my goodness.
And
damn.
Jordynne Grace looks amazing.
When she came up, my mom said she scares me. And I was like, you're damn right.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
Dude.
But you know what's so sad is I've been seeing everybody just saying steroids when it comes to her. And I'm like, hey, you stop saying possible truths.
You stop that with your observations.
Yes. But
I will say, everyone, my mom included, went, holy fuck, when she picked up Piper Niven.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
That Death Valley driver was so crispy clean, too.
Dude, she's strong.
No, hey, listen, I'm not even criticizing all of the people saying whatever they're saying. Keep doing what you're doing. It looks awesome.
It's working.
Yeah, it looks tremendous.
Dude, and on X, she changed her Twitter profile to WWE superstar Jordan Grace. So it is official.
Well, they mentioned it. They said it's official now.
Dude, that immediately put some ammunition into the gun as far as the women's division is concerned. Like, that is injecting life into that division. Because we are often critical of the WWE women's division, justifiably so. They need Jordan Grace.
Well, and you know what would have been really amazing? Is if it took one more month of rehabilitation on that ACL so that Charlotte could show up and win the Chamber instead. Because you know who would have been a great shock elevate right to the top to face Rhea Ripley and make her an immediate star at WrestleMania would have been?
Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace. She should have won this thing, man.
Dude,
that would have been... You know how crazy the crowd would have gone if she won?
I would have been fine with Charlotte winning the Chamber.
Yeah, me too.
But
me
no.
too. It's the Chamber. Fine. But yes, we'll get to the finish when we get to the finish. But Jordan looked great. Then Michin, it's where I keep my beard.
She changed her name back. This is the last Vince McMahon holdout.
She should join the Pure Fusion Collective.
Dude, I can feel the crowd wanting to like her. But your name is stupid.
Yeah.
The crowd wants to like Mia Yim. But the crowd doesn't want to like Michin. She's good in the ring, and I like her. But god damn it, change your name.
Yeah. I agree. It's really stopping me from giving a shit.
She was great. She was great in TNA. She was great in NXT. And then, now she's like, I want to like you, but I can't.
And then Retribution happened. Yeah. But, speaking of Retribution, not the faction, but maybe the person. What happened next, I was not prepared for. Not necessarily the return, but the pop that came with it.
This was one of the biggest reactions of the night.
This is one of the biggest reactions I have heard for a woman. Period.
Yeah.
Period. That includes a lot of Rhea Ripley.
Motherfucking Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss came out. She had the doll. She had the thing. She shed the doll. She shed the thing. She had her old pigtails back, and she looked like she used to.
And she had her old theme music.
And had the old theme music, which I loved. I loved that old music.
Mm-hmm.
And she came in, and the crowd went banana, to quote Gorilla Monsoon.
Yes. Like, my speakers
that's Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson.
My speakers were peaking. That's how loud the crowd was getting.
It was amazing.
Yes.
It was, and I was so happy for her, man. I've been saying, where's Alexa Bliss?
You know what was even more amazing than that? The announcers shitting all over Dave Meltzer. That was also amazing.
Yeah.
They indirectly said, Dave Meltzer, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And that's what I've been saying since this podcast started.
And not even Dave, just wrestling journalism as a whole. They were like, You think you know shit. You know nothing.
Well, because half of wrestling journalism is just people who are subscribed to The Observer.
Yeah.
And then they repost their shit, and then now all of a sudden that's their article.
And most of them just are busy slobbering all over Tony Khan's vagina.
Yep. Well, yeah, because they're told that's what they're told to do.
Yeah.
They're not the most critical thinkers, those people of the Wrestle Talk variety who are basically just going on the whim of what Dave Meltzer is allegedly reporting.
I love this growing attitude of fuck the wrestling media that the WWE has. I love it.
I couldn't agree more with them.
Like, remember when CM Punk was feuding with Drew, and that one dipshit from Cultaholic was like, you and Drew should immediately have a Hell in a Cell match, and Punk was like, I'm so glad you don't book this show.
Yeah.
Just wrestling media, stop that.
Yeah. They can't help themselves though. They cannot help themselves.
Like
that's the problem.
Like you and Skyler are like reasonable marks. They are marks. Like the eye roll marks.
Yeah. Yeah, at least we have some like justification behind our reasoning and rationale that we're able to most of the time communicate in a responsible and emotionally controlled manner.
Okay, you might be fudging it a teeny bit there.
And I don't swing on that side of the plate, if you know what I'm saying. But in any case, out comes Zelina Vega wearing, and I know you're not going to get this reference, Skyler. This is for all the Final Fantasy nuts. She came out looking like either Yuna's super dress sphere in Final Fantasy X-2 or like Edea at the end of Disc 1 of Final Fantasy VIII. And for the two people who know what I'm talking about, hell yeah, Final Fantasy's cool.
I get what you're talking. My thing is the only Final Fantasies that I'm aware of are 7 and 6.
And
also, my name is not Skyler.
Did I call you Skyler?
Yes, you did.
Because you're sitting in his co-host chair that's got his name on the back of it.
Well, that was intentional.
Yeah, it's exact. Well, see, so you're just messing with me here.
Man, that's
not my fault. That's your fault.
This is a large seat, dude. This is a large seat.
Hey, Bizzle, I think it is. And in any case, then we see this. Oh God, this top rope code red.
That was nasty.
That made my back hurt.
Yeah, and my neck.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Too bad the Pure Fusion Collective out here. Maybe they should be doctors and be the Spinal Fusion Collective.
Yeah, agreed.
That's Jordan, what we need, led by Dr. Sampson.
I'm like, Jordan, you just started. Don't immediately paralyze yourself.
I know, that was wild. And then in comes Candice LeRae, and you want to talk about you want to talk about stats that made my jaw drop. They mentioned that Candice LeRae has been in 5 of these Royal Rumbles.
And no one has any memory of this.
I literally, speaking of grammar, there is an interrobang at the end of my notes when I said Candice has been in 5 of these.
Dude.
And folks, look up what an interrobang is. As we're making a link to what an interrobang is in the description.
I feel so bad for our description.
I feel so bad for us editing these podcasts now, as we're gonna have to go hunt for these links and throw them into we have added so much to our workload getting these up.
We're gonna have trouble uploading this.
I know. It's gonna take so long. They're gonna take down both of these videos for being spam. Given how many links are in this.
Sorry, these were in the YouTube spam folder. Maybe you should, like, I don't know, use a different name or use less links.
Right, yeah.
We thought you were trying to upload a virus.
I know, for real. Well, Candice has been in 5 of these, and you know what? Just for fun, one of the links in the description will be to a virus. So roll the dice at your own risk.
Okay.
But I'm kidding, folks. The virus will be more just like a link to our music. Candice has been in 5 of these, and no one has cared in any one of the 5.
The story of her career.
And then the ass of Stephanie Vaquer had arrived, as well as the rest of her very competent wrestling body.
She hot. She fine.
She fine, and she can work.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen of Stephanie Vaquer makes me want to see more of her.
She's probably thinking to herself right now, thank God I left AEW.
Yeah, and didn't even pull the Tony and didn't even call him. She's just like, all right, I'm be over here now.
They'll use me, and my career won't go down in flames.
Yeah, and she's been, the stuff that she's been doing with Julia has been really nice, like good for as much NXT as I watch.
Mm-hmm.
But Then comes Trish, who got a good pop.
Mm-hmm. My mom was like, "Oh, I know who this person is," and I was like, "Very good, Mom."
And she looked great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was wearing her TNA outfit, ironically enough.
And they referenced that on commentary.
Meaning Test and Albert, not the company.
Yeah.
But when she came in, and Trish, you know, she did her thing. She had a comeback, and then Piper Niven missed her calling as an offensive tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs.
When she demolished Trish Stratus, my mom went, "Oh, God."
So did I.
She killed this woman.
I was like, this woman is... Trish Stratus is not young.
She's also not alive anymore.
He's in great shape, but like, dear me, that was... She's 49 years old. This woman's almost 50.
It's a wonder she didn't disintegrate.
I know, literally getting mowed over by Chris Jericho. It's sad.
Holy fuck.
But I will say this. If she just started doing that to people, Piper, get over.
Yes.
Don't say a word. Just go in there, boom,
and kill older people. Be the female legend killer.
Go be the Scottish wrecking ball and just go in there and just mow people over.
Yes.
Don't say a word. Just bloop. Just throw that weight around.
That is exactly what me and Skyler did with her on SWCG and NWL. Yeah. And she got over like Rover on our show. She was like the best part of our show.
There was times when that was one of the most, like, what is she going to do this week?
I had her kill JR. That's
right, yeah. And that was after Skyler did all of the shit he did.
I had her stab someone with a table.
Yeah. And then to add to the thrill of the excitement of the moment, out comes Raquel.
Just
Kevin
quit.
Nash got reactions.
Just quit.
She got not care about Raquel if you paid them to.
Dude, you could tell the crowd went, "Ah!" Oh.
It was the same thing that happened in War Games.
The story of this fucking woman's existence.
Somebody should call Skyler's vacuum, because that's what happens to the room.
Dude.
It just sucks the energy right out.
Raquel, just quit. At this point, I don't even know. Like, I mean, I know what it is. She has absolutely no personality other than look at how big my back is. We thought that her being added to Liv Morgan would help. It has not.
It's hurt Liv.
Just Christ.
But then
is just like, one of my favorite things is just listening to the crowd die whenever her face is on screen.
Every time. It's the exact same every time.
Yes.
It's like collectively everyone's like, it's like they all think they have to go to the bathroom at the stand time, and they'll stand up like the Manchurian Candidate and get up and walk out, and
honestly, if I was her, I would seek a therapist, because that's got to be soul crushing.
That sucks. That so sucks. You know, maybe she'll forget that she has her brother's wedding or something, and we won't see her the next time she's appearing.
Lord have mercy.
And then, for those of you who know what that reference is referencing.
Yeah.
And then came one of the things that, this is where I think that they did a great service to Liv Morgan here. I think it might have been the last podcast we did, maybe for War Games, when I said to the effect of that Liv Morgan is to Triple H what Alexa Bliss is to Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And how fitting it was that of all the people to eliminate Alexa Bliss,
Liv Morgan is the perfect person for, how dare you eliminate that person I like.
It was exactly what both of them needed. And I'll say this, you give me an Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan program, I will not be that upset with it the first match they have.
I won't be able to tell who is who, but I might enjoy it.
Pigtails will help a lot.
Yeah.
But you know, pigtails will help a lot, but it is kind of like a Sting versus fake Sting kind of situation.
Yeah, or Undertaker versus fake Undertaker.
Yes, although I will say to the credit of both ladies, I mean, like, I don't think Liv is as bad as, I mean, Brian Lee was actually not bad. It's just that a fake Undertaker gimmick was never going to last that long.
Yeah.
But to the credit, Sting is way better than fake Sting, and I think that I think Liv is a little bit better than fake Sting. She's earned the credit of being better than fake Sting.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, then comes the peak of the matchup. Here comes entrant number 27.
Ugh.
And while you might have known from the start, JoshAgeddon, to me it was about 22 seconds into this entrance when she just stands there, does Charlotte, and she gets pyro. I'm like, oh, she's winning.
Yeah, that was the absolute confirmation.
Nobody gets pyro in the middle of the Rumble for a women's Rumble.
And loses.
And loses. No, there's no. That's it. I was like, oh, that's it. There is one clear person they're pushing in this Rumble.
Dude, literally every because I've listened to a few people review this show on different podcasts. Every single one of them has said the exact same thing. Every time she comes back, she has a new face. It is catching on.
So it's like basically a brand new wrestler. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's their reasoning. Maybe they just think the WWE fans are not going to recognize this as the same Charlotte Flair, so they can book her like it's the first time.
It makes me think of Obi-Wan Kenobi in Return of the Jedi. She's more plastic now than woman.
Yeah, well, that's not incorrect. Well, she comes out and she starts laying some crappy chops.
Dude, oh my God. I will take Eddie Kingston's chopping machine gun over whatever the fuck this was.
I will say this, though. It's not entirely Charlotte's fault. Because here's the problem with chops with women. And I do not mean this as a knock or a criticism. With a guy, when you do a chop, you're hitting right in the meat of the titty, you know?
And with
it's like
women,
you're hitting right there smack dab, so you get a lot louder of an impact. You hear the whap of the chop a lot better, but you can't do that with women. With
women, there's less to work with because there's more to work with.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point. You have to basically put your hand like near your chest plate, and you're just not going to get the sound. And the only person to recognize this when they sell it to give a little more meat for Charlotte to chop was Jordynne Grace.
Yep, exactly.
Because she walked up and she leaned just a little bit into it, a little bit prematurely, I would say, but at least she gave Charlotte something to make an impact on. No pun intended.
Nice.
But that, to Jordan's credit, she's got such ring smarts like that she knew that Charlotte's chops look bad because they don't sound like they do anything. Unless you've got somebody who's able to take the chop and make it sound like it has some chutzpah to it. And so props to Jordynne Grace for giving Charlotte that.
And you could like see a visible like handprint on Jordan's chest for the rest of the match.
Yes. Because she knew how to lean into it, where a lot of these girls, they're like backing up as Charlotte's chopping them.
It's like they're having...
They don't know how to take chops because not a lot of women use chops because of the reasons that I just mentioned.
Yeah, the two reasons you just mentioned. And also, they sell it like they got shot with a taser.
Yeah. And it's, it's just not, it's not the same with the ladies.
No, it's not.
And it's just that's what it is. And I think that's part of it. But I will say this. Charlotte didn't really get that big of a pop when she came back. I mean, it was like, yay, yeah, wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
It was like everyone was happy she was back, and then the realization
and then the realization just immediately hit like a brick wall. or should I say a plastic one, like 75% of her body at this point.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. And then Pat goes, oh yeah, I'm thinking she's back. I'm like, do not bring Keanu Reeves in.
Do not bring Shadow the Hedgehog into this.
I don't look like you. You look like me. Why do you look like me?
You don't look like Charlotte. You don't look like Charlotte. You look like a different person. Again.
doesn't even look like Charlotte.
Charlotte doesn't look like Charlotte.
Oh, God. 2 questions. Who are you? Why don't you look like Charlotte?
Who are you? Why don't you look like you?
Folks, go watch Sonic 3 in a shameless plug.
Yeah, that movie's fantastic. When is it? It's on digital. I want it on physical media.
Yeah,
Give me that fucking DVD now.
Well, yeah, for sure. Then comes Julia, and she was fine. Got a good pop. Fine.
Not
Has
enough.
potential.
She did not get a big enough pop that I was honestly very disappointed with the pop that she got. But
First
again,
time.
not a lot of people know who she is because not a lot of people watch NXT.
Yeah, give it a year.
Yeah.
Give it a year, and I would bet that she'll be back up. Think about the year of Jordan Grace not being on WWE television and what that did.
Yeah.
You know, so it just takes some time, and I think that this was the first experience, and then my favorite happened, and I can't believe I'm saying this, that I actually was ultimately ending up rooting for this woman all night. Out comes Nia Jax. And I'm like, yes, the cleaner is here. Yeah, fuck Kenny Omega. That's Nia Jax is the cleaner.
Oh, Lord.
If Nia Jax started coming out with 2 brooms in each hand, like she's the modern day Wicked Witch of the West.
I want to see Nia Jax do the Terminator dive.
Oh, man. Well, she stole the pretty good Hurricanrana here, I will say.
She didn't try to do one, which is an improvement.
No, that was thankfully that was a one-off iconic moment.
Yes.
Which I'm now gonna have to go back and watch because of how absolutely hilariously funny it was.
We'll put the link to it in the description.
Like, go diving, folks. And, go diving, yeah. And but then she comes in at number 29, and before we get the moment that I love, actually my favorite moment in the whole match, I just wish there were a couple different people in it. Out comes number 30.
Oh my God.
And this was where I popped. I popped hard because this was where one of those moments where I'm like, oh no, JoshAgeddon is watching this show.
Live
with his mom.
I got the morning shift for Nikki Bella. Oh, Joshua, you got the morning shift so you could watch this show live with your mom? You know what? You get Nikki Bella at number 30. Fuck you.
They said she was in great shape, but she had no muscle tone like she did before. Her stuff didn't look that great, and the crowd was like, they popped at first, and then like, did we like this before? It was like they got confused. They're like, because there wasn't that many boos when she got eliminated.
No. Do you remember what I put in the chat when she came out?
Projectile vomit in all caps.
Yes, because that's what I wanted to do.
Now, this was following 2 or 3 other times that Joshua had threatened vomit on our chat.
Yeah. This was the closest
women that came out here.
Aside from the finish, this was the closest I got.
Well, but then they do this moment where 6 or 7 ladies are outside of the ring. And I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And I didn't care because from pick 15, I was begging for Nia to come out here and clean this ring. I was begging for it. It just that was my one big complaint other than the finish of this match. Mm-hmm. Too cluttered.
Yeah.
It was too cluttered. So when Nia goes and eliminates 7 people at once, I'm like, thank God. But then I started looking at who was left. I'm like, wait, put a couple people, those people back.
No, I take it back.
Get Io back in here. Hold up. Get Stephanie back in here.
Sean, when this happened, I literally got up to go pee.
Yeah.
And I zoned, and my mom was like, Joshua, come back. And I was like, Mom, Charlotte's going to win. And she said, how do you know? And I just looked at my mom. Because I've been watching this shit for 15 years.
Yeah, you watch, Ma. You'll see.
I went to go pee, and I came back, and I got on my phone, and I did not pay attention to the rest of the match, because I knew what was coming.
Well, it wouldn't have been as bad if somebody like Io Sky was still in there giving people some hope.
They made it so blatantly, blindingly obvious.
Yeah, that was my big problem with this. When the final three were Nia, Roxanne, and Charlotte.
It's even worse than that. Like, Bayley was like, what, Final Four, and Julia was still in there? They're not giving it to Julia. She's the NXT Women's Champion. They're not giving it to Bayley because she won last year. They're not giving it to Nia because, well, funnily enough, they didn't want the internet to set the world on fire. And Roxanne just started on the main roster.
You can't give it to Roxanne Perez right now. That's the problem. It's like they've shown that they are very high on her. They want her to be something, definitely, for her to be in the final two.
She was the Iron Woman of this match.
However, I would have preferred, if you're gonna keep Nia in the final three, and you're gonna do this thing with Charlotte, at least let the third person be somebody who can realistically win. Which means keep Io in there. Put Jordan in there. Put somebody that the fans will go, this might not go to Charlotte, and then everybody can get pissed when Charlotte wins. But at least it would have felt less a foregone conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my interesting point about this. Here's why I was partly rooting for Nia in this. Even with Charlotte, even like if Charlotte was in or out of it, I was partially rooting for Nia because one of the big problems with the Royal Rumble is that it has kind of destroyed the weight class idea in the concept of the Battle Royal. Like, Andre the Giant never lost Battle Royals. I mean, he did, but like, he didn't lose Battle Royals, right? That was his thing. Like, he's too big. You can't get him over. And now nobody big wins the Rumble. Big Show lost every time. How are they going to throw him over? Easy. They do it every fucking year.
My mom even asked, how are they going to throw Piper Niven over the top rope? And I just looked at her. I was like, Mom.
They do it every year.
I was like, Mom, Piper Niven is not winning this match.
But see, that's exactly my point. Regular casual observer perception would be that a big person has an advantage in a match like that. They have destroyed that concept, and it would be nice to see that happen occasionally.
Yeah.
Right? Let the big dude have his moment. I'm not suggesting Omos win the Rumble.
No, God.
So let's not go too crazy here. But if you've got somebody who has had momentum, gets insane reactions for as much criticism as she has justifiably deserved over the years, Nia gets good reactions. People boo the shit out of her. She was such a bitch in this thing, was waving goodbye and knocking everybody over. She has gotten so much better with her personality.
Yeah, I will say, I have one criticism of Nia in this match. Before she threw 500 people over the top rope, and then everyone was like, oh God, Charlotte's winning. There was a moment where, like, the hard cam was, like, right on her, and she said, stand up! And everyone in the ring stood up, and then Nia was like, surprise Pikachu face. And I was like, ugh. Can we not loudly call spots, please?
Yeah. But if that's the worst thing that we're talking about with Nia Jax,
that's an improvement.
Think about that.
That's an improvement.
You know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really think that as much as people would have been like, no, I don't want Tiffy versus Nia again, and I don't want Nia versus Rhea again, although I would have enjoyed that, but I don't know what dimension they would have added to it, but they would have had to.
The problem with that is they've already done it twice, and Rhea won clean both times.
Well, that's why, have Nia win this and go face Tiffy in that ultimate battle of revenge, because Tiffy is basically going to be turning babyface regardless, I think. People like her too much.
Yeah, and they are not going to take too well to Charlotte, I can't imagine.
And they're not going to and they wouldn't have liked Nia. I just felt like, if you're going to do it and you want to actually sell the fact that Nia is a threat in these Rumbles, you got to have her win one.
Yeah.
And this is probably the best time or chance to do it, although Samoa nepotism on the night probably would not have gone over well with the fans, but that being what they did do didn't go over well with the fans either.
On that note, I have it pulled up right now. Do you want to know what the like to dislike is for Charlotte Flair wins the Women's Royal Rumble on WWE's YouTube channel?
Let's hear this, Mr. Statman.
We have 7.7 thousand likes to 34,000 dislikes.
Damn.
That is like a 75% no.
That's pretty rough.
That's pretty bad.
That's pretty rough. And, the thing that confuses me is that they think that this comeback story, people were going to sink their teeth into. And no. For anyone, and literally anybody but Charlotte, it would have worked.
This is why people hate Charlotte.
Yeah, so anybody but you, dude. It's like,
yeah. Like, it's like that dude in SpongeBob is like, how many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yeah, it's like, when are you going to learn this lesson that it's just not going to be like that for Charlotte Flair?
New administration, same shit.
Well, but here's the thing. It is a new administration, and we know they are capable of pivoting.
Yes.
To the benefit of their business. We know they are capable of this now.
There's no way they don't turn Charlotte heel.
Well, it might go further than that. Who knows whether Charlotte keeps this #1 contendership? We don't know that for sure.
We'll see.
The Rock didn't.
Well, The Rock didn't win the Rumble, even though they for a brief moment they pretended that he did.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like, well, but they're capable of pivoting and a lot better than they did when Batista won the Rumble.
Yikes.
And they kept pivoting. They were literally they were spinning in a 360 for a while there. They were pivoting so hard until they finally came out the other side.
Yeah.
But in any case, then we have one. Well, before we get to Skyler, I want to mention something that happened right after the Rumble, and then I'll let you say what Skyler had to say.
Okay.
They do the shot that Triple H loves to do, where they do the crowd shots of all the old wrestlers and celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
And they mentioned the Godfather's there. And they cut to the Godfather, who was mid-dab pen hit. And he wasn't ready. And he puffed out the smoke and kind of half waved and half coughed. And I related so hard to that. I'm like, me too, Godfather, me too.
Can I tell you what made me laugh hysterically?
They caught his ass so off guard. It was too good.
That was funny.
That was too good.
That was funny. But do you know what made me laugh my ass off?
Please.
When they were like, and we're going to show you the reaction from these people when Nikki Bella came out. They went fucking crazy. And the people they showed looked like they were fucking asleep.
But you know what? That's what the fans looked like when Nikki Bella came out before. So that's just canon.
Just the fact that they were trying to spin it as people cared when they so obviously did not. I was like, is Vince back?
If by going crazy you mean having disturbing psychological breaks, perhaps. But speaking of disturbing psychological breaks, what did our good friend Skyler have to say about this match?
30-woman Royal Rumble match. A major note with both the women's and men's Rumble are that they had new graphics this year that showed people's entry spots, their time in the match, how many were in the ring, left, eliminated, and who has eliminated who. Some people thought it was distracting. Real quick, there were some people that were complaining about that. Fuck those people. It was amazing. Some people thought it was distracting, and I can get it with the constant changing and showing different stats and taking a fair amount of the screen. But honestly, once I got used to it, everything was fine. It looked great and what sports stars in wrestling should look like. This one change on production enhanced the Royal Rumble in line with other sports-based presentation that the AEW could never. Fuck Tony Khan count 3, and the count is still lowercase with Tony. Putting that aside,
there's no punctuation at the end of that sentence either. But let's move on.
Yeah, there's no period. There is an indentation though, so I like that. Putting that aside, the Women's Rumble shows the great potential WWE's women's roster has and how much further they must go. On the one hand, the roster has gotten good enough that they have a solid grouping of women in the mid-card. Additions like Jordan Grace, Stephanie Vaquer, and Julia, along with prospects like Roxanne Perez, Jada Parker, and Lash Legend, show a bright future.
Wait, hold up. Skyler. Jada Parker and Lash Legend do not show a bright future.
I disagree. I like Jada Parker.
Okay, let me rephrase. I take that back. Jada Parker's all right. She's got something. I'm not sure what. Lash Legend though.
She's green, but
That's a big ball of oof.
But she's also very new.
Yeah, she's not Maxine.
She's new. She's new and she's young.
But she's got some. I don't feel like she's a natural worker.
Yeah.
So I will give her the benefit of the doubt and say I'll just give her more time.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
Roxanne Perez being the second to last woman and lasting the amount of time she did, 1 hour and 7 minutes, is impressive. Also, credit to Lyra Valkyria for not only wrestling the other women, but also her top and Liv Morgan, the veteran ring wrestler Liv Morgan, God, helping cover it up, vomit. The issue with WWE's women's roster is the lower card / jobbers and star players. It became a running joke that I kept saying, why does WWE have more managers as wrestlers? Like BFAB, Ivy Nile, Maxine Dupree, Zelina Vega showed up. Trish Stratus is excluded from this because she's a good manager that became a wrestler. The main event players without Jade Cargill or Becky Lynch were hurting this match. Bayley and Bianca Belair's stock is down, and Nia Jax's stock has hit the core of the earth in terms of her star power. I don't know if I would agree with that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
Yeah, she gets negative reactions, but she gets reactions.
They're boos, but they're loud boos.
And, like, hey, she's a heel that gets boos. That's the gig.
And they're actual like heat boos. They're not like get the fuck off my TV boos.
Yeah, which hopefully Charlotte
like they used to be.
Like Charlotte will hopefully be getting in a couple hours.
Yes.
Alexa Bliss getting the pop of the night was fantastic, and if she is back long term, then this division gets a major shot in the arm. I laughed when Liv Morgan eliminated her for a massive amount of heat. You are right, Sean. They are listening to us when we joked about Liv Morgan being the new Alexa Bliss.
Called it.
Nikki Bella as 30 sucked. Agreed. I do not want to be reminded of the Total Divas era of women wrestlers, and now its poster child is back. I hope it is not for a long time, but man, did Nikki Bella show how, despite the improvements she has made over the years, how bad women's wrestling was from that era.
Agreed.
Now the thing that everyone is talking about, Charlotte Flair coming in and winning the Rumble. I know Joshua hates Charlotte and never wants to see her wrestling. True. A lot of internet wrestling fans and smarks do not want to watch her wrestling. True. I am very, very true with that stat that I just read. I am indifferent, if only because Charlotte does not super bore me and is still someone whom I consider among the best women's wrestlers in the world. At one time she was, but it's been a while. It is not 2016, 17, 18 anymore. Now I need to see her have a regular match to decide how I feel, but given the black hole that is women's wrestling in AEW with Mercedes Moné, it could be worse. Well, it could be worst.
Could be worst.
It could be worst. Fuck Tony Khan, count 4. Oh, there's a period on this one. But
at least he's consistent with these capitalizing and not capitalizing on count.
He's doing that on purpose just to slight Tony Khan, and I'm here for it.
He must be, just to see if we're watching.
I also think Triple H may be able to book Charlotte Flair better than whatever Vince McMahon did. Fuck Vince, count 2. And there's another period. Just do not do any moonsault. Do not do a moonsault or a moonsault. Whatever a moonsault is. Charlotte, please.
That's what Charlotte does. She doesn't do a moonsault. She does a moonsault.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
The women's rumble. Send it to W for Wumble.
Literally.
The women's rumble, if you cut out 10 people and did a 20-person rumble, would have been better, but the 30-person rumble was fine. I am not on the women shouldn't have a rumble like I was a few years ago, but at least the WWE's women's division has gotten somewhat better and shows promise. As with everything else, it takes time to heal from the damage that Vince McMahon has. Jesus Christ, Skyler. What? I need to take a hit of whatever Skyler does whenever he writes this. Has done to wrestling. Fuck Vince, count 3, not in bold for some reason.
We also have a dangling parenthetical here.
That that is true. That is true.
No, we might be just in parentheses for the rest of the program, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm gonna
let you know if we're ever gonna actually get back to real conversation.
I'm gonna put everything in the description in a giant parentheses.
No, No, just half a parentheses.
Just one.
Just the bottom half, just to close out the idea.
This video is going to destroy the internet.
Or our reputation. I don't know which, but yet. But
yes.
On match 1, and we're 90 minutes into this program, so we should probably move this along.
Yeah.
Match 2, DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns in a best of 3 falls. And I must admit, as the biggest defender of tag team wrestling of all of us, begging for this tag team any tag team titles to be defended on a PLE/PPV. The first time since WrestleMania 41 in that batshit bonkers let's split the titles ladder match they did. This is the first time since then that any tag titles have been on a program. And I have been bitching about this for every single show we've reviewed since that point.
But Sean, the women's tag team titles.
I didn't hate those matches actually when they were happening. It's just we were watching Jade try to improve in front of our very eyes.
Yeah.
As that reminded me, now the more I think about it, that reminded me a lot of The Undertaker and Nathan Jones, but that's a...
you just did Jade Cargill so dirty.
I know I did. Nathan, yeah.
That was mean.
Jade Cargill is way better than Nathan Jones.
Jesus. They literally had to shoot an injury angle at Mania 19 because Undertaker said no.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty wild.
But they did shoot an injury angle with Jade Cargill, so I might be wrong.
Yeah, well, it's a who knows what really happened, but in any case, it's DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns, and I wanted so badly to like this match. I wanted so badly for this to deliver so that tag team wrestling could be more utilized in the larger scale matchups rather than just being left at the whims of the television. And I won't lie to you, JoshAgeddon. Up until the finish, I had myself a great time. I wish the fans had been more into it, but there was no way that you could get the fans into it more after that Rumble.
Yeah. Dude, like, I will say, I honestly thought the fans were going to be practically silent. They did get the fans to react at points. They got the fans to react more than I thought they were going to.
Well, I knew if there was any two teams capable of doing it, it'd be these two.
And before we really get into it, can I just say it was so cool to see the Motor City Machine Guns on the Royal Rumble in front of such an enormous crowd.
I'm so happy for them in general. I'm so happy that this late into their careers, they're able to make this run. I loved the hype package beforehand. Saban can still cut a hell of a promo, man.
Yeah.
You know, Saban, that's always been Saban's best quality, I've thought, is that he's always been able to cut a pretty decent promo. And these two, I mean, it all worked out in the whole situation. Although I did find that, like, the betrayal of friendship, and I didn't see it coming from Johnny Gargano. How many times has that been an angle with Johnny?
Yeah.
He's like, you look too friendly to be a dick. And he's like, guys, I've been a dick for a long ass time.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want from me? It's like, so, but in any case, it took a little cajoling, but they got the crowd back into this, and really we're getting towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was going to be a lot of spots. I am thankful to say that this was mostly just tag wrestling.
Agreed. This was a very solid tag match.
Yeah, I mean, the great work by DIY, cutting the ring off, you know, distracting the referee for the tag so that Saban couldn't get in so they could drag him back over. And I mean, this was just fundamentals, hand tags. Yeah. There was only one backslap tag the entire time, and it was actually Gargano reaching over to tag the shoulder of Ciampa right at the very end.
Are you cool with shoulder tags?
If you're giving me 10 to 15 hand slap tags beforehand, fine.
Yeah.
It's when every tag is a back slap tag that I get pinned. You know, it's like give me fundamentals, and then you can do some sly shit.
Can I tell you something that like really early in this match that I loved?
What's that?
The first fall, the way they did it, and the way Alex Shelley sold it. He did something I've never seen before that I wish people like. Well, I don't want everyone to start doing it, but it was just a little thing he threw in there. They faked a tag so Ciampa could surprise Alex with a knee strike. Now, I wasn't crazy that he pinned him with a knee strike like 5 minutes into the match. I was like, really? That's all it took to get one fall? But that's every 2 out of 3 falls match where moves that don't normally win all of a sudden.
True.
But Alex Shelley sat up, and his nose was a little bloody, and he put his finger up to his nose, and he blew his nose as if there was blood in his nose. That one little motion sold that for me. I was like, okay, I can get on board with that. He was selling it like he broke his nose. That Alex Shelley is so fucking good.
Yeah, they both are.
That tiny little detail was magnificent.
Well, and Shelley, I mean, he's really both of those guys have improved so much with age. I mean, I was behind when Sabin beat Bully Ray during the Aces and Eights angle of somewhat infamy now.
Yeah.
Because they ended up just doing with him what everyone expected they would, which was making him Lex Luger and losing it 6 days later. But I always believed in Sabin, and when Shelley finally got to the point where he was TNA champion, it was like, okay, they've both figured this out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not just the guys who were doing spots all the time like they were in the early days of TNA in the X division. Mm-hmm. You know, they've really become such a well-balanced and all-around team to where they both deserve the world title acumen as far as TNA is concerned that they both have received. And it's great for all of them. But DIY, you know, they've earned this too. And then they talk, you're not going to care about this, but they talk about the rigging of the Kansas City Chiefs and the officiating and all that. And Pat goes, oh, people are going to say it's rigged. Pat, it's fucking wrestling. What are you talking about? Don't bring your stat apologetic stuff where you have to defend the obvious rigging of the NFL because you're being paid by ESPN a lot of money to do so. Don't bring that into wrestling. This is the people who live in gimmick world. You are not the victim here. And even Wade Barrett's like, I haven't seen this bad officiating since the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm like, good for you, Wade.
Dude.
Good for you, Wade.
Wade is my favorite commentator in WWE. Like,
he's come a long way on the table.
I've softened a lot, and I actually kind of like Michael Cole now, except for whenever he tries to dance, and he's like, you are the whitest person on earth.
Terrible.
Just terrible. But Wade Barrett is my favorite commentator in wrestling right now.
Well, seeing how Corey Graves got all sad about going to NXT, and that's what ended that. But yeah, no, Wade's been putting in work.
Yeah,
and he's been really good too. And he doesn't go too crazy with the healing.
Yeah, like he'll give the babyface credit. That's my thing. I notoriously do not like heel commentary. But it's because
it can get over the top.
A lot of the heel commentary that I've heard is Michael Cole being madly in love with The Miz circa 2010, 2011.
That drove me away from wrestling.
To the point...
Michael Cole's... I've said this a few times. Michael Cole's heel commentary is what made me leave WWE until probably 2015.
It was insufferable.
I could not watch it.
It was awful.
Early 2010... I was there, but the second that started happening, I was out.
It was awful. But whenever a heel, obviously favors the heels, but will give the babyface credit and isn't absolutely psychotic or madly in love with one of the wrestlers that's a heel, then that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And Wade does a good job of keeping the balance fair. But then the crowd started trickling back into it. Mm-hmm. Sabin tosses Ciampa in the post. Motor City Machine Gun does a lot of their old stuff, but man, it was great. I'm a little sad we didn't get to hear the classic vintage Motor City Machine Guns. He used the word like classic, and I'm like, okay. So This is like the one word phrase that you're known for, Cole, and you're not going to use it. All right. But anyway, they get them back into this. They score the second fall with their, I forget what they call it.
Skull and Bones.
That's it right there. They got that, and I've got a pop.
I actually like. It's a simple tag team move, but I like it because it's simple.
Yeah,
it is not it is not needlessly convoluted. Just it's a tag team match. We have to do a whole bunch of crazy shit. No, you don't.
Yeah, and this kind of demonstrated what my biggest criticism about tag team wrestling, even in WWE, was for a long time, is just too much. It's two comebacks, and you have to get all this stuff in. This was a 2 out of 3 falls match that kept it moving, was simple in its design, got all the effective tag work in, and all the way up until the very end. And I don't even hate this, really.
I don't either.
It's just, they were just getting the people back into it. They were just getting them back into it to where they might have gotten an epic conclusion if DIY had just cheated on their own and ended the match, giving the Motor City Machine Guns the same out. This is just like a disagreement on execution here. Because what happens is the referee's distracted with DIY and out comes Shitty and Poopy, also known as the Street Profits, who come in black hoodies and attack the Motor City Machine Guns, and then allow the meeting of the minds or whatever they call it to come together with DIY, and they end up retaining the belts. And then DIY is out there, and then Shitty and Poopy attack them too, because DIY attacked those two on SmackDown, I think.
Yeah, so the idea was the reason why DIY are tag team champions is because on an episode of SmackDown, it was going to be the Motor City Machine Guns defending against the Street Profits. Well, the Street Profits got assaulted backstage, and everyone knew it was DIY, but they claimed innocence. So they replaced the Street Profits and ended up cheating and turning heel to win the tag team titles. So now the Street Profits are also turning heel, but they're mad at everyone. Because they feel like they got shafted. Like, in kayfabe.
Well, and here's the thing. Knowing that WWE is somewhat rehabilitating a lot of these guys, like the Viking Raiders, who are now just the War Raiders.
On Raw, Michael Cole accidentally called them the Viking Raiders and called himself, and he was like, I mean the War Raiders. Oh. And everyone was like, it's okay, Michael Cole. But
old habits die hard.
Speaking of which, more power to JD McDonough. This past episode of Raw, did you see this, Sean?
I saw parts of this. I saw the move that did it, and it was gnarly.
Holy fuck. JD is lucky he didn't, like, knock himself unconscious or die or, like, paralyze himself.
Yeah.
And he broke his ribs and has a punctured lung and continued wrestling for, like, 10 more minutes.
Yeah, that's absolutely absurd.
Not smart, but props. Major props.
If you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough.
Yeah, yeah, like that earned me a lot of respect for JD McDonough. Get well soon, JD.
Yeah, it's I feel for him, but but back to the point. I mean, and even he is different now,
Yeah.
But they're given this idea that they're able to make these guys, like, I find the War Machine to be super palatable now as just two big dudes who do really athletic stuff. That cartwheel from Hanson always gets me.
Yeah.
It always gets me. I'm like, that's such a big dude doing a cartwheel. And doing a yeah, fun facts. I actually saw a no-holds-barred match between him and AJ Styles at a Northeast Wrestling event back in 2015, maybe?
Ooh, that must have been fun to watch.
It was right after AJ left TNA. It was something.
I can't remember who it was, but there was an episode of Raw where he tried to do the cartwheel, and the person he was wrestling didn't get out of the way, and he accidentally gave him like a Pele kick.
Oh.
And I was like, that wasn't supposed to happen, but it looked cool. It looked cool, but oops.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, but the whole thing, here's my problem with this whole thing. I don't even mind them because maybe they're putting the Street Profits in a direction that will make them more interesting.
More palatable.
More palatable, yes. I believe in the process enough to think that they have the capability of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And them being pissed and going off on people and not being silly about the party and red Solo cups coming from the ceiling or throwing Pizza Hut into the crowd or whatever.
Oh, God.
And all the stuff that they've done before.
Survivor Series 2021 still haunts me.
You know, and all of that stuff. I believe that they can rehab from that. But if they're going to attack both teams anyway, why did it behoove them to fuck the Motor City Machine Guns to keep DIY to win the titles when that was their shot to begin with? Wouldn't it make more sense to have DIY just fuck over the Machine Guns themselves, then come out and attack both of them? Or, dare I say it, have them both come and cause a disqualification, ruining the 2 out of 3 falls match altogether?
That would have made more sense.
It's just, it feels like the way that they did this, it doesn't make sense why they would just screw over the Machine Guns and let DIY do that if they're going to attack DIY thereafter anyway.
You got a point.
I can't believe I'm proposing for a disqualification on a Royal Rumble that had the winners it had on it, but still.
That might be part of the reason why. Like, they were like, we just had Charlotte Flair win. We can't.
Maybe you're right.
We just had Charlotte Flair win. We can't immediately give them a disqualification.
Maybe. That's definitely possible. I just felt bad because the crowd was just getting into this match when all this went down.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, what a tease. I'm like, this, for tag team wrestling, which I'm desperately trying to make the case for, is they were just going to get them back into it. And then they do that. And it's like,
yeah.
Well,
and
we'll
then,
see
and
you
then,
next year, I guess.
and then you text the group chat, I agree with Joshua. Fuck this show.
Yeah. But I softened on that a lot, actually, because
Yeah.
I really think that there's hope that I might be investing. If I am defending Nia Jax on this show, I have to believe that the Street Profits can be better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't be that hypocritical.
They started to get better when they turned them heel and put them with Bobby Lashley, but then Bobby Lashley decided a wrestling career just wasn't a good thing anymore and decided to go to the ether.
Well, it doesn't help that Triple H gave them nothing to do.
Yeah, but there was a moment we were like, heel Street Profits could work. But then Bobby Lashley fucked off and they've done nothing with them. So, but now they're going back to it. It could work. It's one of those things where we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, let's see what they do with it. I'm willing to see what they do with it here.
So
would you like to hear what JoshAgeddon had to say, hey, Bizzle?
Why? Yes, I would, Skyler.
All right. 2 out of 3 Falls Tag Team Championship match, DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns. So Jordan Grace gets her TNA theme, but the Machine Guns can't get theirs. I was going to mention that. I was kind of humming the old TNA Machine Guns theme as they were coming out.
Not gonna lie,
yeah, it would have been nice for them to have it.
Not gonna lie, I kind of like their, like, it's not amazing, but I like their current
But it's fine.
WWE
It's
theme. It suits them.
Yeah, it does. I agree. Sean has bitched about the tag team titles not being on pay-per-view, and now they're in the death spot in the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. You happy, Sean? Kind of. I mean, I'm genuinely kind of happy as a person, but anyway. Pettiness aside, this match was good between DIY and MCCG. Coming soon to a South Carolina.
I was about to say Motor City Machine Grassland.
Motor City Championship Wrestling. It is funny how much 2008 to 2011 TNA is on this show. That is true.
Yeah.
And making it as good as it is. They told the simple story of DIY cheating to get the first fall, Motor City Machine Guns fighting from underneath to get the second fall, and then a classic battle going before Motor City Machine Guns are on the verge of victory until the Street Profits get involved. Not the biggest fan of the Profits being in the storyline, but if Triple H can rehab so many other people's images to respectable levels, then why not these guys? At the very least, this heals they will be better than smiling baby faces with Solo cups. A lot of those silly I could see that Skyler is equally as traumatized from those days as we are.
Yeah.
A lot of those silly gimmicks from mid-2010s to early 2020 WWE were racist if you think about them too hard. Well, they didn't have him coming out with grape soda, okay? It's just solo cups.
I think he's like with the mid 2010s. I think he might be referencing Crime Time, but
oh, maybe. But you know what? They have, to be fair to Shed and JTG,
they owned it. They got
over.
Yeah.
You know, they got wicked over with that.
Hey, the gimmick may have been a teensy bit racist, but they made it work. They went with it and they rolled with it.
I still laugh at that vignette with DX in Manchester in the UK with them scalping tickets from Crime Time. every time I see that, that still makes me laugh. It's so funny because like they leaned into that and just, it worked. It worked.
Yeah. I'm
not saying it wasn't racist.
Speaking of the Rumble, one of my favorite Royal Rumble moments was in 2009 when Crime Time's music hits during the Rumble. Both JTG and Shad come out, and JTG's like, all right, I got an idea. I'm going to flip a coin. And he's like, heads or tails, and they do it. And he gets heads, and JTG runs down to the Rumble. Shad picks up the coin. It's a double-sided coin. That was funny. That was great.
Yeah. No, they had their moment. Rest in peace, Shad Gaspard. I wish that we had gotten to see more of him.
And if you want to see more of JTG, we have South Carolina Championship Wrestling.
That's right.
Also, rest in peace.
The link is in the description.
Also, the link to the description may also rest in peace in the description.
Well, and speaking of
resting in peace,
by the time that we're done, there might be 420 links in that description. And speaking of 420, they show Rob Van Dam and ACPW star Shakily Dakily Katie Forbes.
Sean, you know how sometimes we have the same brain?
I do.
We almost simultaneously texted the group chat, Shakily Dakily.
I was so happy. I was so excited.
That was great.
That's 3/4 of the reason why I even give a shit about seeing Van Dam anymore.
Honestly, that also it was. People pointed this out on X. One of his arms was insanely muscular. The other one was not. It looked kind of odd.
Well, you know, I wonder what he's been doing with Kate. Anyway,
no, let's move on. It's not any. It makes sense when you think about which arm was muscular.
Well, let's move on from carnal beauty and go on to carnage and brutality.
This was the best thing on the entire show.
As this match wiped the floor with anything that was going to happen on this night.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens in a ladder match.
Or as I like to call it, the passion of Kevin Owens.
And this was just spectacular.
Agreed. Early match of the year contender right here.
The hype package was incredible.
I like me some Papa Roach. Like,
and,
dude,
me too.
Rock and metal or alternative metal fits wrestling so good, and we barely get it anymore, but when we do, damn it makes me happy.
Yeah, we get a lot of bass drop and basic rap now, which is kind of sad, but
it sucks
but
so
it's
hard.
Popular, which is why they do it. But in any case, somebody said Owens. There's a sign as Kevin Owens comes out that says Owens is a TAW champion.
I saw that.
Thought that was pretty good. And now I didn't write a ton about this because I was just watching this.
Yeah.
So if I pass by something you want to talk about, feel free to stop me.
Okay.
The first thing I mentioned was the body slam through the ladder rungs. The legs.
Dude. That right there was when I knew. I was like, oh, this is going to go downhill, isn't it? In a good way.
Well, it was an interesting spot because I kind of got the same impression. It was like, oh, this is going to be different. This is going to be a unique ladder match, something we have not really seen before. And by and large, it was different.
Yeah.
And this match, the one thing that bothered me about this sponsorship is that Kevin Owens works 10 hours. All he wants is Wingstop. Fucking drive.
No, fucking climb.
Yeah. What did he eat today? Well, actually, knowing Kevin, it probably was a decent amount, but...
Okay. All right.
You know what? That's so unfair to him because he's lost so much weight and he looks so good.
And he
doesn't wear those shorts anymore. He actually wears like a long pants version of what he used to wear. It's just, he looks so good. He's a star.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the most over Kevin Owens has ever been with me.
Agreed. He's so damn good. And this feud with Cody has been so damn good because all of last year we were like, when are we getting the Randy Orton feud? And Kevin Owens was like, I'm here. Motherfucker, I'm here.
Yeah.
So
well, and that was something that was worrying me about all that, is that Kevin was getting lost in the shuffle. I said he needs to do something different. And then, like, no sooner had we talked about that.
He pile drives Randy Orton.
He, at Bad Blood, he goes after Cody, and then, all the reasons that he fleshed out, and I'm like, well, this is shit. Kevin's making a really good argument here.
It turns out Kevin Owens listens to our program as well.
He must. Either that, or they've got a direct wire into our brains.
Yeah.
But then there's this one thing that I didn't really care for, which was the mini ladder. They pull out a 4-foot ladder, and then Cole's like, Hornswoggle used that once.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, we're just going full blown 2013, huh? It's like we're just going 2010s WWE tonight. There's a Hornswoggle reference. I'm like, well, shit, Cody, might as well wear some polka dots.
Can I tell you something that made me very happy throughout this entire match?
Please do.
What was the crowd doing for a lot of this match?
Watching.
We want tables. We want tables. And you know what Cody and Kevin did?
They did not give them a single table.
They went, no.
No.
Sit
you know why?
down.
It's a ladder match.
It is, and I looked at my mom and I said, it's an L match, not a TLC match. And my mom said, that's tables, ladders, and chairs, right? And I was like, very good, Mom.
Good for her. Good for her. Proud of her that she knew that.
Yeah. She has stopped by while I'm watching wrestling in my room enough times to pick up some stuff here and there.
Sure.
And she loves Rey Mysterio.
Well, who doesn't love Rey Mysterio?
Dominic.
Yes, you're right.
And JBL.
Right. And, yeah, well, that's true. And I'm so sad we didn't see JBL.
That's right. I just realized that we did not see JBL at all.
I said that he was going to show up, and he never showed up.
Oh.
That Rumble needed JBL.
Just to clothesline the shit out of somebody.
Just to clothesline everybody and leave.
To clothesline everyone, get eliminated, go back in and clothesline one more person, then leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simmons was there.
We even acknowledged that in the chat. We acknowledged that in the chat. Rod Simmons is there. Oh, I can't wait for JBL.
The stars aligned for that.
Never happened. No.
Never happened. But anyway, they keep going on this. They do the step ladder and all that. Then we get the back suplex on the 4-foot ladder. That looked like it hurt.
That was the first part where me and Mom went, "Ooh." And I was also
be the last.
And I was thinking, "Oh God, that was a baby spot, and it looked like it hurt. What else do they have planned?" And boy, howdy,
we still have a pop-up coccyx destroying power bomb.
Yeah,
quote unquote pop-up because it was like off the ladder.
Yeah, he didn't quite get him hooked right, but it still looked devastating.
Still looked really devastating.
There were a couple bumps in this match where they didn't quite get what they were going for, but holy fuck, it looked like it hurt.
Yeah. And then, Kevin Owens mocking Dusty, and then it comes a really fun part, and I didn't anticipate me liking this as much, but I thought that you probably would appreciate it. Cody Rhodes stomps on the ladder and takes a rung out of the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And hit Kevin Owens with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the commentary
references
that the last time that was done was when Wade Barrett used it on Cody Rhodes.
I love that, and I remember that match.
And I said, that's some continuity I can get behind.
Yeah.
And then later on when Kevin Owens, or actually shortly thereafter, when Kevin Owens countered Cody with something, with a chopper or a thumb to the eye or whatever it is, and he turns over and he sees the thing and he just whacks Cody with it.
Yeah.
And then, dear God, we were talking about the Spinal Fusion Collective.
We need to... Sonya, Zoe, Shayna, we need you back for a second. Because we have a new patient.
Come back out here and look out for Kevin Owens.
We have a new patient coming your way. His name is Kevin Owens. Holy fuck. He does this in... This is one of those spots where it's Kevin Owens in a ladder match. He's going to do the spot. And every time we're begging him not to.
I know. But this time particularly, it didn't look like he was able to protect himself like he sometimes does.
Oh.
This looked as spine contorting as you could get. As the move is that Kevin was going to go for a package pile driver, probably. Mm-hmm. And Cody countered and went for a backdrop. And that backdrop was right on the top of the ladder. But the ladder was propped up on its side. So he basically folded in half on the edge of this ladder. And you and I basically said the same thing in all caps. You in the chat and me on the notebook. No, Kevin, why would you agree to do that?
Why do you always do this spot? You're going to paralyze yourself, dude.
Seriously, he might not feel that now, but in 20, 30 years when he's sitting in a wheelchair hoping DDP can save him.
When that happened, my mom screamed.
Dude, I screamed.
I also screamed. There was a lot, like everyone in the arena screamed.
Yeah, and Cody needed ice cream. But it didn't stop there because then Cody got a power bomb onto the ladder.
That looked so gross because they kind of fucked it up a little, and that landing was horrid,
disgusting.
Oh my God! Because
it wasn't the last nasty landing of the night.
No, I've seen powerbomb. I've seen that exact spot. Like I've seen Kofi Kingston take that exact spot. But they didn't fuck that one up. They kind of fucked this one up, and I wouldn't be surprised if Cody himself is fucked up. But, oh my God. Rough.
Well, they were saying Cody's been dealing with multiple injuries as a result of this. At least WWE reported that, like, in addition to Kevin, that both of them got hurt. And it might just be them selling the brutality of the match. But I would also not be surprised if some of that's a shoot.
Yeah.
Because there were some spots in this when I'm like, guys... Especially this Fisherman Buster.
Oh my God! When they pulled up that second, when they made that second bridge in the ring, and Cody started trying to go for a superplex, I immediately knew where this was headed. And I knew
what was coming.
And I was like, guys, there's a fucking ladder. Don't, please.
But here is the problem. Maybe that's where they wanted to land it, but I seem to think that they probably wanted Cody to get more of that on his back, and they didn't they either over rotated or they didn't put the ladder in the right place because they landed with both of their heads making impact on the ladder.
Yeah.
And they both looked at, and then when the agents came out, I thought, well, shit, like I would probably have done that for a shoot.
Yeah.
That looked nasty as all hell,
dude. I was also like bouncing between our group chat and Twitter during a lot of the show. It was at this point where everyone on X was like, "Oh my God, guys, please be okay." Everyone on Twitter was freaking out during this match,
which goes to show how incredible a job they did.
And it still wasn't over yet.
Well, and out comes Sami Zayn, which I thought was going to be more important on the night, and it ended up not being, and it probably means they're saving that for the subsequent television.
Yeah.
Or the Chamber. But Sami comes out, and he's concerned about Kevin, and with the knowledge beforehand that Kevin kind of alluded, Sami, hey, help me win the title, and then I'll help you win the Rumble, and then, we'll main event WrestleMania. And Sami's like, I don't know. Indecisive face.
Yeah.
As, that's what Sami does. That's what he's really good at. He's great at selling that. And he goes over and he looks at Cody like, but I like him too, though. And he doesn't know what to do, so he does
nothing.
So he just does absolutely nothing. And he watches As Kevin gets back up, he is now bleeding at this point.
Which that made me so happy because I was like, I hope this match gets some juice.
Well, and it was at the exact right time. They only had one more spot left.
Yeah,
it was
another hellacious Jesus Christ spot.
Yeah, and I must say, I did find it funny about halfway through this match when Cody or Kevin brought another one of those 12-foot ladders in. You could tell which ladders were spray painted wood and which ones were metal.
Yeah.
Because the spray painted wood ones had a very mattish quality that the light of the top of the arena did not reflect upon. But that's okay. I'm not knocking. That's okay.
It's wrestling.
And I'd much rather them go through a wooden one than a metal one, especially for what they're about to do.
Yeah. This last spot was so fucking crazy.
As Kevin gets back up and he pulls Cody and they get up on top of the table and the fans think they're doing a table spot and they're wrong.
Fuck you, fans.
Kevin gets Cody up and he's about to do the package pile driver. He tries to do it. He can't quite get Cody. Cody lifts Kevin up and spins him around and hits an Alabama slam to Kevin Owens through the ladder.
Holy shit.
And there was a crossroads in there somewhere.
Yeah.
In this match that happened kind of out of nowhere. But I love the fact that an Alabama slam is what ended this match.
I loved this finish.
I loved it. And then it took Cody a hot minute to take those belts off, but they were snaps and not Velcro, so get fucked.
Yeah. This was the only finish on the night that I liked.
And it was great. And the crowd was like, okay, Cody wins. I think a lot of people did kind of want Kevin to win this belt.
Oh, yeah.
Which they were never going to do.
Oh, yeah. Cody did get a few boos here and there.
Yes. But this match ruled. He pulled it down. And here's the interesting theory that I heard from this mark on the internet. So take it with that in mind.
And a gigantic grain of salt.
Well, yes. What if Cody does start to actually lean into this Homelander stuff that everyone's talking about, being like this hero who's actually like a villain based on what he does? Because Cody did a lot of very heelish stuff in this feud.
Mm-hmm.
But all in the name of like Kevin wronged him, but that's what gave Jesse his whole credence at that point. What if Cody, with this belt, with Jey Uso challenging somebody, and because they've done Gunther and Jey 4 times, what if they slowly but subtly turn Cody heel in this matchup with Jey?
I'd be down.
Because they've been teasing it for a while. And it could be one of the things that, like, because Jey's as over as he's getting, it might prolong that somewhat. But if Cody retains the belt in a really dickish fashion, then you've got a champion who went from being beloved to becoming a tyrant. Cough, cough, Liu Kang.
Cough, cough, Cody and ACPW.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you've got a whole different set of mileage that you can get off of that title reign. I'm not saying that could happen. I'm not saying that they're going to do that because Cody is still insanely over. He's selling stupid amounts of merch.
Yeah.
Like, he's over like Rover. It'd be silly to kill your cash cow like that.
He's the modern John Cena / Roman Reigns.
Yes. However, it's an interesting theory because it might start a chain of events at WrestleMania that we might not be expecting. That being said, I'm sure they're probably not going to do that because that sounds way too interesting for them to do at this moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Kevin's spine must be absolutely jelly after this match. But what a clinic these two had. And what a feud these two had.
Yeah.
It's not going to win feud of the year because it was basically at the end of one year and at the start of another year that it happened. But for what it's worth, this was tremendous.
Oh, yeah.
What did Skyler have to say?
Undisputed WWE Championship ladder match. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin He has the last parentheses.
He did it.
He did it.
I'm proud of him.
Yay, Skyler. Is no longer I'm a teeny bit less worried about our description for this video. I'm still worried, but a little bit less so.
A little bit less.
Well, this was not a match. It was not a fight. It was a war. These guys absolutely destroyed each other in what I can only describe as the biggest display of violence I have seen in a long time. Play-by-play does not do this match justice, and in what is a short amount of time has given way to what I hold to be an early contender for Match of the Year. I agree.
Me too.
I don't know if it hit the level of violence that was CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in Hell in a Cell, but it came close to it and was certainly a spectacle, to say the least. If for nothing else, Kevin Owens has more than earned my respect for the amount of pain he puts his body through. Unnecessary, comma. I do not want him to go to AEW, fuck Tony Khan count 5, and must lower himself like many others have. So please stay in WWE and keep up the work, but with less painful stuff. Agreed.
Agreed.
So save your anatomy, Kevin. We got peeks into what heel Cody Rhodes is, right? And oh boy, does it feel like that is what is coming up at some point in 2025 or 2026. The teases are enough to make me want to see them. And that's it.
Folks, I swear I have not been reading Skyler's notes before this review, because he's been basically saying almost verbatim what we have just been discussing.
It's almost like we've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, well, it goes to show that, like, just how much our opinions, kind of mesh, why we've become so close as a trio just as a result of this.
Yeah.
And now, time for a CIW track change.
We're here in TAW land.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd vamp a little bit while I was getting that together. I was like,
No, I'm keeping that brief 2 seconds of dead air in because
right,
this is the worst podcast ever. I have to maintain this lack of integrity.
That's right.
There's integrity in consistently not having integrity. What am I even saying?
Yeah. But there is always intensity and intelligence. The integrity is sometimes in question. And now
I think the intelligence on my part might be in question occasionally. But the intensity, indeed. That's the one
Absolutely.
eye. We don't have the 3 eyes, but we have one. I'll take 1.5.
Well,
I'll take 1 3/4.
And now that unpleasant math is behind us, it is time for the Men's Royal Rumble match.
Oh,
the
boy.
main event, the whole kerplooey. And before we get to this, I don't even remember what they were plugging. I think it was whoever the artist was who made the soundtrack. Michael Cole put on his King of Weenieshire cloak for a minute.
Oh, no.
Because he's going, and you can capture them on this, and you can find them everywhere, including on Spotify.
Yep.
Excuse me. It hurt my voice to do.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why?
Michael Cole.
Spot a why, Cole.
Yeah. Sometimes Cole forgets just how much of a white dad he is.
I know, and we love him for it. Well, and the Men's Rumble started at 8:57, and I said, hey, CIW's day. Hey, fuck it, never mind, it's the Rumble. And, but if you want, but that will also be in the description.
This goddamn description, dude. It is a nightmare.
I know. It's gonna be long. It's gonna be brutal. But in any case, speaking of long and brutal,
my roller coaster of emotions with this particular match.
Well, it started out with Rey Mysterio and Penta.
And my mom's last bit of genius analysis. He looks like Sub-Zero. Thanks, Mom.
And he did.
And he did. He did.
He did. I can't deny it. But unlike Penta, Sub-Zero was successful on this weekend. But in any situation, Penta comes in and they start off and there's their sign of respect, and the fans want Penta to succeed. And so do I.
Yeah.
And so does the WWE. So much so that they're willing to ignore their own rules.
Yeah. Yikes. The beginning of this match was a tad clunky, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, they did, and they were great in Lucha Underground, and you're going to hear that a lot.
Yeah.
But in Lucha, they do this thing where Penta kind of eliminated himself, and they tried to cover it up. It's like, it was just 1 foot. It was just 1 foot. The replay will show it. And then they never showed the replay.
No, because they knew.
Because they knew they couldn't.
They knew. They were like,
no matter what way you spun it.
He's supposed to be in there for 45 minutes, damn it.
And you know what's funny is that the whole crowd went, oh!
Yeah.
And then went, are we just going to ignore that?
I can't remember the last time I heard an entire crowd, just thousands of assholes clenching.
Yeah.
All at once. And me and my mom, same. I could feel my asshole clenching, my mom's asshole clenching. I could feel your asshole clenching, Skyler's. Everyone on the internet had the same reaction. Just, oh! Let's not watch that replay. Yeah.
But you know what? To the credit of the crowd in Indy, they're like, okay, we'll allow it.
Well, yeah, we'll act like that didn't happen.
It was not like the stark, oh, you fucked up, like it was at Money in the Bank 2024.
Yeah.
Where the crowd was like, oh, this just shat the bed right here.
Or the last time that Kofi Kingston, or the last 2 times that Kofi Kingston tried to save himself in a cool way at the Rumble. And fucked it up so bad that they just couldn't.
Yeah. But they were like, but Penta's so new and he's so fresh and the fans want to like him and they want him to succeed. They're like, it's okay, buddy. You just keep going.
What's that over there?
Most forgiving I've ever heard a WWE crowd for a fuck up, maybe ever.
It was the most amount of asshole clenching I've ever heard, followed by the most everyone going, what's that over there? I didn't see that. What's that over there? The sun's very bright.
which is a testament to the good faith that WWE has rebuilt with its fan base.
Yeah.
Because if this were Vince era, they would have been all over that.
Yeah. If this
would have been,
they would have been like, yeah, Penta's out.
Yeah, the dirt sheets would have been carpet bombed with articles.
Yeah.
But Gable comes in at 3, and that's what made people forget. They're like, okay, we like Gable, we'll just forget. And
on that point, though, I don't know what Ray and Penta were trying next, but then we went from one asshole clenching moment to me going, oh my god, did they just break Chad Gable's leg?
Yeah.
With whatever this, like, Tower of Doom almost sent, they gave him a senton to the leg.
To both legs, but yeah.
One more so than the other.
It was pretty rough.
Yeah, the beginning of this match was kind of clunky.
Yeah. Well, then Carmelo Hayes comes into a Raquel Rodriguez pop.
It wasn't that bad. And people
you're right. It's not that bad. It just wasn't existing.
He's been on TV a little while, but not long enough to where people know he's still new to people.
Well, I also think he needs more personality myself, but
yeah,
he also hasn't had enough time to showcase it because they've been just kind of keeping him on the wrestling. But then they really keep trying to push this Lucha Underground stuff.
Yeah.
Because here comes Santos Escobar, formerly King Cuerno.
Yeah.
And Penta looks at him like, what are you doing here?
Did we get a Lucha Underground reference on commentary?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't think so. But the people who knew.
Yeah.
And then they do, a few people come in and then they do this skin the cat spot. But half the dudes fuck it up.
Yeah.
I was like, well, the cat still has 7 more lives, I think.
Yeah. My thing was, they already did this spot with Chelsea Green in the previous Rumble. So I was like, really?
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's, but then Otis comes in, and then the feud that never was between Otis and Gable, they decided to just shoehorn into here for a hot cup of coffee.
And it was actually great. Holy fuck.
And it was fantastic.
Holy
I was like, why didn't you do this before?
He slapped the absolute purity fucking holy hell out of Chad Gable.
It was amazing.
And then Chad suplexed the shit out of him.
I was like, why did you kill Chad Gable to the Wyatts for it when you had this? It wrote itself. It was going to work. And their matches would have slapped, dude.
Yes. I'm kind of hoping that they had a one-on-one match on Raw a couple weeks ago, and Chad won with the ankle lock, but it was a short match, and it wasn't entirely memorable. But they could, if they gave them like 15 minutes and were like, go hog wild, they could blow the roof off the place.
If they wanted to, they've got the history there. I don't see why you don't.
Yeah.
That's, at least that's the way that I would go about it. But then comes Braun Breaker.
I am in love.
Now, before Braun Breaker showed up, I got to give Penta a little credit. Because as Braun Breaker's music hit, Penta did a Hurricanrana into a double DDT.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And I was sitting there, Braun Breaker, holy shit, Penta.
Yeah. I'm so glad he's not in
It was so impressive.
I'm so glad this motherfucker's not in AEW anymore.
Me too, dude.
Do you want to talk about saving your fucking career?
I know.
But on that same token, poor Ray Phoenix. This poor guy.
Dude is being held hostage.
Him, Ricky Starks, Wardlow, Camille, who was on Jim Cornette's podcast, which was hilarious.
Yeah, you know what? We need a place to where all these people go, like the Miros, who just get paid to do nothing, and Tony Khan just ghosts them, and they just sit around getting paid as their career gets buried. They're sent to Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
That is what happens when one of these people ends up being held hostage by Tony Khan's contracts. They're being held at Guantanamo Bay.
I want Braun Breaker to spear me. I love this man so much. He's so goddamn good.
Within 2 years, he's going to be WWE champion.
Oh, absolutely.
I have no doubt of that. There's no way he's not. Unless he does something stupid, there's no way he's not.
Dude, or gets injured.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. He's so unbelievably good.
He's like if Goldberg could wrestle.
Well, he's like he's got both of the best qualities of the Steiners meld into one.
He's if the Steiners did the fusion dance.
Yeah. Which is pretty incredible to say.
Yeah, or the Patara.
I love the guy. But then comes one of the funniest and yet stupidest things that I've seen. This was a Vince playbook thing.
Speaking of Dragon Ball Z,
Akira Tozawa.
Can I walk through this, please? Because
go ahead.
I was in tears.
First
off, Akira Tozawa walks out, and my mom immediately said, "Who's this little guy?" She was like, "Oh, he's so cute." Carmelo Hayes gets eliminated.
You know what you could have answered him?
What?
You know what you could have said to your mom? He's basically Krillin.
Yeah. Yeah. He's Krillin.
If we're going to just put it into absolutist terms, that's basically what Akira Tozawa's there to do. He
looks like Krillin, but he's booked like Yamcha. So,
boy, that is painfully accurate.
So, Carmelo gets launched out of the ring, and he's eliminated. Akira Tozawa comes out, and I'm like, oh, good lord. One of the funniest parts of this was Carmelo hits him once, and Akira's just dead. He's gone.
One punch.
It was like so many anime references. Just one punch and he's done.
He just turned Carmelo Hayes into Saitama.
Yeah, basically, he was fucking dead. He was deader than Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Like, they hauled his deceased ass, his tiny carcass to the back, And Triple H is like, what are we going to do? He's supposed to be next. And then I hear Triple H say, I show speed. And I'm like, oh no.
Speed, you're in. I'm like, no.
Oh, God,
don't do
no.
this.
Oh, no. And my mom says, who is that? And I'm like, he's a streamer dude. And she's like, he's a what? And I'm like, don't ask, Mom. You don't want to know.
I will say this, though. If you're going to have a celebrity in it like this, he looked like he actually was unprepared.
Yeah.
And he came out looking like, what do I do? I'm baller. Look at me, I'm baller, but
what do I do?
And that was funny.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he sold that really well, like the fish out of water kind of deal, which is exactly what you had to do for that.
He went into the ring, and everyone was like, oh, God, no. And he was hot dogging, as JBL would say. He did a backflip, and then Braun Breaker, he does the backflip, and then you see Braun Breaker start running the ropes. And then you're like, I'm about to see a man die on television.
This man's soul was speared out of his body.
Braun Breaker cleaved this fucking guy in half.
Braun Breaker went, you show speed? No,
I show speed. And force and power. We saw a fucking fatality. And it wasn't just the spear. It was the landing where Braun Breaker's shoulders crushed this man's skull.
Oh, man.
He eviscerated this poor child. And even my mom said, he just killed that man. Why are you laughing, Joshua? He's dead. And my mom saying, why are you laughing, made me laugh so much harder.
And I must admit, I've got to give Speed credit because the only times he showed up, he's gotten the shit kicked out of him. When he showed up in the Prime bottle and barked at Randy Orton and Orton RKO'd him through the table.
No, he gave him a King Leonidas, this is Sparta kick, and then RKO'd him on the table.
That's right. Sorry, I forgot.
I think the boot to the chest hurt more than the RKO, not gonna lie.
Yes, no, because he booted him right in the Prime costume.
He booted,
And
he kicked
rocketed back.
Oh, man.
Like, to Speed's credit, he took it, he sold it about as well as you could for that
But
kind
we
of
weren't
position.
done. Because then Braun military press slams him out of the ring.
Yeah.
And Otis catches him. And everyone's like, oh, God. And then Otis basically was like Venom at the end of Let There Be Carnage. And Otis went, fuck this guy. And then gave him the mother of all fall-away slams. And you heard him go crunch on the announce table.
Yes, you did.
We saw him die twice.
Yes, you did. And good on Speed for being amenable to all of that.
And the look on his face where he looked Google-eyed. And it was fucking hysterical.
He did a good job. For what his role was, he did a good job.
I was crying.
Yeah. It was, well, and have both the wrestlers do what they did is actually kind of really funny too. But I will say this, on the military press, you could tell that Speed was not trained how to do that because he didn't close his legs, so his legs were wide splayed open, and you could tell that Braun was struggling a little bit with the balance of weight.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't his balance, so he's like, "Fuck, dude!" And
just
but he's so
yeeted
damn
him.
strong because, like his dad and his uncle, that he's just able to lift and not care and just do it anyway.
Yeah. This did more to get Braun Breaker over than anything they've done with him. How do you get, you know how we've always bitched and moaned, like, they'll have a celebrity come in and embarrass a wrestler?
Right.
We need more of celebrities getting involved to die at a wrestler's hands.
Yes. Yes. This made Braun Breaker feel that much more valuable, especially.
And on Twitter.
No, I show Speed.
On Twitter, the edits were fucking hysterical. It is now people are now saying this is the greatest GIF of all time. and there's like top of the arena footage, and everyone in the crowd went, "Oh my God, he's dead!" Like this elicited fear from the audience, and it was absolutely magnificent.
It was spectacular.
Oh my God!
And then we get filler.
Yeah.
There was a nice double Samoan drop when Fatu showed up.
Dude, Fatu was also incredible in this Rumble.
Jacob Fatu is spectacular. His stock is rising lightning fast.
When we briefly got Braun and Jacob Fatu, I damn near ejaculated.
Yeah. Well, I got kind of confused about that, actually, but we'll get there in a second. But it woke people up because Shamrock and Shamrock, I put down Sheamus instead of Sheamus. And because my spell rating was crappy, I thought it said Shamrock. I'm like, Ken Shamrock would have been an interesting ad in this matchup. Jimmy Uso and Andrade, and
who's now who apparently him and Charlotte are now divorced. Charlotte comes back, wins the Rumble, and gets divorced.
And Andrade gets no reaction at
this
all.
Poor guy.
This guy cannot get people to like him.
He kind of can on SmackDown and exclusively on SmackDown.
Yeah.
On a pay-per-view, no.
And then we get Kaiser, who comes in and takes his time and gets a quick elimination. And there's kind of a tease of Kaiser and Penta. And I'm that's a weird clash of styles, but I'd be there for it.
Yeah, on an episode of Raw like a week or two ago, he basically called Penta out and said that he wants to go after him.
All right. I'm down for that.
Me too. I feel like that would be a fun match.
Then Michael Cole's mic went out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And now I have to say, this was probably Skyler's favorite part of the night. If Roxanne Perez getting as far as she didn't do it for Sky, this did. And I don't want to say his name because he's going to show up at my house and I don't have enough food to feed him. The TNA champion showed up and boy, the pop was loud.
Joe Hendry he didn't do all that much.
Didn't have to.
But what he did was great.
Yeah, he is God, how far that dude has come.
Yeah.
From being I mentioned this to you in a chat, from being the 8th most important person at What Culture to being the first TNA heavyweight champion to show up at a WWE Rumble, getting a better pop than most of the WWE wrestlers.
Yeah. Dude, seeing the TAW World Heavyweight title belt on WWE programming was confusing my brain. It was very surreal.
Yeah, thanks for the belt, Scott. Thanks for all those fresh belts you brought before we just said, no, you're done.
Thanks, Anthem.
Yeah.
And I will give TNA credit. Dude, Scott D'Amore getting fired could have absolutely, and it did momentarily cripple TNA, but they are doing their damnedest. They are doing their damnedest to crawl out of that.
They rebounded, and this partnership is only going to help them. And it's no coincidence how people view TNA now when Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry get some of the best pops of the night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, TNA is rebuilding their reputation, whereas other companies are sinking them faster than TNA ever did. And they don't even need Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And so then, but Joe shows up and he does his deal, and Sheamus is sitting in the corner, and I forget who stops Joe Hendry, but then Sheamus is one of my favorite moments. It was like, hey,
I was enjoying that. Dude,
I was having a good time with that.
When Joe Hendry did something and Sheamus started clapping, I laughed so hard.
But, you know, I love this inside joke that everyone from Britain, Ireland, Scotland, they all love Joe Hendry.
Yes.
It's a universal joke that everyone across the pond just loves Joe Hendry and what he does. Drew has said it multiple times. Sheamus has done it. It's this weird phenomenon, but I am so here for it.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you end up with some level of tag team with Sheamus and Joe Hendry.
Oh my God.
Do it.
That would be like that's both like a straight up tag team and also that would be comedy gold as well.
How about that for a TNA championship match?
Yeah.
Joe and Sheamus. You know, there's a lot of possibilities now in play, which is really nice. Just not for this Rumble.
Yeah.
And then we get Roman versus Jacob.
Bro.
And this is when things really started picking up in this whole deal.
Oh, yeah.
Roman comes out. The pop is enormous, as always. We have this one-on-one situation. They kind of go at it a little bit. And then in comes Drew.
I'm not sure when it happens, but at some point Roman Reigns is just spearing everyone. But he tries to spear Braun Breaker. And motherfucking Braun Breaker delivers one of the most just orgasmically amazing looking spears I have ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, this is why I said what I said earlier about the fact that, like, Roman Reigns and Braun Breaker, they're the only two.
If it looks as incredible as that, absolutely.
They're the only two who should be doing spears. Everybody else figure something else out.
Yeah.
Jay's got the splash. Charlotte's got the figure eight. Jimmy's got
the splash. He did a really snazzy looking hip toss neck breaker on Carmelo Hayes.
He did. I will say he did do that. And Drew and Roman Reigns going at it never gets old to me.
No.
I could watch that until the end of time.
Agreed.
I mean, there was a time when it was tired when they hadn't really quite found the balance yet, when they were doing those 6-man tags in 2018 or 2019. I forget what it was.
With Baron Corbin and
yes,
and Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley and Aleister Black like once.
Yes.
That was weird.
Well, and thankfully, and then the Ghost of I Show Speed said "Yabu."
This was also unintentionally hilarious. His music is so fucking bad that no one knew who it was.
No one knew who it was.
And when he walked out, everyone was like, huh?
Oh.
It was a mixture of oh and what? That's your music?
Yeah.
It was awful. I felt so
really
bad for Yabu McBalor. And then he just, this is the loudest I've ever heard him Yabu all over the place.
It's because the ring mics were up.
He was screaming it at the top of his lungs.
He always does.
No, not
he always does.
No, sometimes he does, but I've never heard it this loud.
Well, he had to get it over the voice of 11 different people.
So you could hear it.
Yeah, that's right. He's doing it just for me. But, hey, he's over with me, brother. I'm really glad that, and I'm also really glad that Balor's the one that eliminated Penta. Give me that match.
Yes, absolutely.
As much as I have criticized Finn Balor before, that I will watch.
Yeah.
Give me Balor and Penta.
That would be a fun match.
I absolutely. Then Jay showed up.
Yep. He sure did.
But then AJ Styles showed up and got pyro but he got pyro because he was a part of TNA and we're pushing TNA tonight. So
yeah, and he got his old music back.
Yeah, which was also very nice. And I'll tell you something. The fans always want to cheer AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
They always want to cheer him. And they cheer him like the old cheering, just saying his name.
Yeah.
Like, they're always behind AJ Styles. And it always makes me happy to see. That dude put in so much work to make TNA something special and then got rewarded for it with such a good, mostly, WWE career.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody deserves it more than AJ.
I love AJ Styles.
Me too.
And
we got the
really
Uchi as well.
Mm-hmm. When I said Uchi, my mom looked at me like I was speaking an alien language.
Well, not alien, just Japanese.
Well, I mean, if one came over here without their card, it would be illegal.
That's true. Well, that would be alien-like moves.
Yes.
But Well, speaking of things that are alien, I thought Braun Strowman was murdered on Saturday Night Main Event. How is he back this quick?
To eliminate Jacob Fatu so they could feud.
Which I hate, actually. I know, I do. Because think about it. Bronson Reed got over by making that happen to Seth Rollins, and Rollins was out for, 4 or 5 months? And then came back?
I think the excuse is he's so fucking big that he just heals faster, ?
Still from the mouth, though. And it's Jacob Fatu. Well, it's like you're trying to get him over as this lethal dude, and then 2 weeks later, here comes big, beefy, I can only do a power slam guy with a beard. And I don't know. The roles have been reversed here with Braun Strowman. I didn't like this at all.
I didn't. I was like, I mean, this is just leading to Jacob Fatu defeating Braun Strowman at some point, because that's where they're going with this.
I fucking hope so.
They are obviously going to sacrifice Braun Strowman for Jacob Fatu.
I hope so. I really hope so.
I can't imagine. Look, they've given him so much, and they've given him more promo time, and they've featured him a lot. There's no way they're gonna have Braun Strowman defeat Jacob Fatu. If that happens, I'll be pissed.
Yeah, well, well, they have the potential to do it to you. But John Cena shows up, and they stare at each other all until Punk comes out.
Yeah.
It's Cena and Roman, and they sit there, and then Punk comes out, and then that gets a pop. And it goes to show they don't necessarily have to have action happening all the time to get the reactions they want.
This was good milking.
All they had to do was sit there and stare, and Cena does the shirt thing.
Yeah.
And he gets paler and paler every time he does it.
Yeah, he does. He gets paler and paler every time we see him.
And then these three milk. And then Seth comes out.
But it worked.
It did work. And then they all start clamoring at each other. And then this was maybe, I think, the funniest positioning of anybody on the night. Dominic Mysterio comes out.
Yeah.
And this was fun because Dominic comes out and everyone's like, oh, great, this dude. But he still gets booed like hell, man.
I laughed so hard. Me
too.
He gives John Cena the frog splash, and then he has that goofy-looking smile on his face where you just want to kill him.
No, he's great.
And he's like, I'm going to give Roman Reigns the Three Amigos. And Roman Reigns is like, motherfucker, I'm Roman Reigns, dude. No, absolutely not.
No, it was great. It's Dominic. God, remember when we were about to call it for Dominic?
That heel turn saved his career.
It propelled him to a level that is just next level.
He's so damn good at
I
being him.
love what they do with him.
Yeah.
And then Sammy comes out to a pop. And then, speaking of calling it, Damian Priest comes out and the crowd did not care.
You could tell the crowd was expecting some kind of surprise.
And that was not a surprise. And I think the fans were happy when Priest cashed in. Mm-hmm. I think his title reign was good, but there was something left to be desired. And I don't think that I don't know. I think that Damian needs something else.
They moved him to SmackDown,
which is a start.
Yeah,
but he needs something different. I don't know what, but it's gonna take something else for people to get back into him. I just felt for him.
Well, him feuding with the Judgment Day for 1,000 years didn't help.
Yeah, that's true. Him and Finn Balor having 3 separate occasions of the same angle didn't help.
That was so dumb at Survivor Series. Let's just do SummerSlam again.
Yeah, just for the gits and shiggles.
And then they had that triple threat on Saturday night's main event where the finish was literally Gunther got annoyed and was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm winning this match.
Yep.
And it was great because that's Gunther.
Well, and then LA Knight comes out at 29.
Mm-hmm.
He still gets a crazy pop.
Yeah.
And he comes and does his thing, and then Logan Paul comes in.
Gets massive heat.
Yep, does the buckshot, lariat, clothesline, and does things. And now, speaking of massive heat, he might have gotten legitimate massive heat.
Oh, yeah.
From Drew McIntyre, because as what's going on with Drew and Priest, because Drew's about to get eliminated by Priest, Logan, I think, kind of steps in front of all of that to do his thing with LA Knight and kind of cuts away from that whole thing.
They
So
kind
it's
of
lost.
Yeah,
the shuffle.
they kind of mistimed all of that.
Yeah, and you know, the word about town was that Drew got pissed and left the arena long before the match was over.
I mean, I kind of get it, but I don't feel like it was done intentionally.
I feel like there must be more to that story that we don't know. There's got to be more to that than we know.
Yeah.
Than it just being that. Because I'm not sure it was just about that one spot. It could have been, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Time will tell.
Yeah.
But the LA Knight, Logan Paul stuff was fine. Then I guess Logan Paul's going to be Kofi now.
Hey, as long as he doesn't fuck it up and they don't do it every year, I'm down with it.
Well, he willingly jumped over to the announce table and kind of just perched there for a bit. And then as the match is continually going on, Sammy got eliminated by Jay. That might be important down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Paul eliminates AJ Styles, you know, when he finally gets back into the ring.
Yeah. And
then,
I could see it coming from a mile away, and I was like, oh, you are such a dick. And I was saying that before he even did it. That was such a perfect elimination for Logan Paul.
For sure. And that being said, give me Logan Paul versus AJ Styles.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Give me that.
That will steal a show.
That will feed families.
That will steal a show without a doubt.
Absolutely.
That will be the best match on whatever night they put it, if they decide to put it.
Remember when they did Logan Paul versus Ricochet and it was kind of eh?
Yeah, this would not be that.
This would be what people thought that was going to be.
What people wanted that desperately to be.
Yeah.
And wasn't. But then Seth and Roman finally have their moment, and they recount the Shield thing that we've litigated for the past 12 years.
Dude, that camera angle though, that
Great.
one shot,
spectacular,
absolute cinema.
God.
It was great.
Yeah, and those two, they have the stare and they start fighting, and then Punk ends up eliminating both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Logan Paul eliminates Punk.
And when that happened, I went, "Oh no."
Yeah. Because once again, the final three telegraphed what was going to happen. Because they're not going to give the Rumble win to Logan Paul. As much as you would want to believe it, he's not around enough to do that. And not that he isn't dedicated, right? It's not a knock necessarily. It's just that I don't think main eventing WrestleMania, I think that would have not gone as over as people would have thought. I think we would be seeing more dislikes on the YouTube video with Logan Paul winning.
And we'll get to that in a second.
But you know Logan Paul's not winning, and as much as people thought that they wanted Cena to win this Rumble, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
The second he won it, it would have been an uproar. But also, they clearly scheduled him for Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
You know they're going to milk this losing streak and this race and chase to 17. They're not going to blow that wad 3 months in. There's no way that he was winning this Rumble. There was no way John Cena was winning it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And especially because they advertised him for the Chamber. Because the whole thing is him getting to the spot.
I think,
let me just get the spot immediately. Otherwise, you're doing what they did with Charlotte.
The sentiment with me and everyone online, especially everyone who got pissed, the second Punk got eliminated, everyone was like, "Oh no, no,"
because it pretty much determined it.
Yeah.
But then Seth went full blown heel.
He went absolutely insane.
As Seth just went completely unhinged, and you know what? It's about time.
Yeah. That curb stomp,
middle of the road stuff, it's time.
That first curb stomp he gave Roman, was brutal.
Vile. And there's a lot in play with that. I'm interested in what's going on with that. Because all three, I'm terrified it's going to lead to a triple threat match. But at least there's reason here. Because Punk and Roman have this thing with Paul Heyman that's still got to litigate itself. Clearly, Punk and Seth are not done with what they're doing. And Punk and Seth and Roman are just never going to stop fighting forever.
It's the modern iteration of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, where we're just going to do this forever, aren't we?
Even though they're also going to have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens fight.
Probably at WrestleMania.
So they're still, Sami and Kevin are still Sami and Kevin.
Yeah.
But
Death taxes Charlotte winning the Rumble and Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens.
But Cole is losing his mind here.
Yeah.
Doing this. And Logan Paul gets eliminated, and it's Cena and Jey, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, that was the sentiment that I had.
When they showed that final 6, I'm like, there's only one person I don't want winning this.
Yep.
Well, fuck me, I guess.
It's even worse than that, because after Charlotte won and we were complaining about that, you know what you said in the group chat? You said, can you imagine if Jey wins too? And I said, oh, that would suck.
And it did.
Little did we know.
And it did suck. As Cena went out and Cole's going crazy, and I wrote down, well, Vince, thanks for stopping by. Please never come back. And, and here's the thing. None of this match was bad. Well, Penta getting eliminated 22 seconds in and everyone just forgiving him was kind of bad. But none of this match was bad. Just the winner.
Until the finish.
Just the winner.
And I'm not going to lie. When Jey pushed Cena off the apron and won, I was so irate that I angrily... This is the second time in my life that I angrily turned to show off before it was over.
Well, it was over. There wasn't anything else to see.
They celebrated for a little bit after, but within 3 seconds of John Cena being eliminated, my TV and Xbox were turned off, and I stormed into my room. And I was seething.
Yes, you were.
I had Seth Rollins had a psychotic, full-blown heel turn, immediately followed by me having a psychotic, full-blown heel turn meltdown.
Well, and I understand why. Because Jey Uso his matches are just not good.
No.
And he's stupid over. And here's the thing, and I think you and I have kind of come to an agreement on this too, is that here's the thing. I don't like Jey winning when you have so many other options that provided a lot more intrigue, I think. But if you are going to do this with Jey, you have to do it now.
Yeah.
Because Jay's not getting any more over.
Or any better.
And that's what I mean. It's not going to get much better than right now what you're seeing in this vacuum. And really what we'll see is kind of the, if you're looking at the bell curve of a storyline arc, as they're taught to you in film school and all that kind of stuff, is that we're right before the bell hits the very peak, but the climax happens right before the peak.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the peak, and then the rest is falling action. And so I think this Rumble was that climax for Jey. Then it's going to hit the peak when he wins at WrestleMania, and then it's all going to go downhill from there. Yeah. And I'm not saying that as a knock, but he's not going to get any more over than he is right now. So if you're going to make this move and push him in this way before the fans wholly reject it, which they did basically now anyway, but this is the time to do it. You have to do it now. There's no other option. Otherwise, that window will shut as fast as it opened.
Dude, I just wish that he was over for a bit. Like, if the word yeet did not exist, he would not be over.
Agreed. It's the hot dogging. It's also, it's what people accuse Seth of. His entrance is more over than he is.
But Seth can work. That's the problem.
Agreed.
And on that note, do you want me to regale you with the like to dislike ratio on Jey Uso wins the Men's Rumble on the WWE YouTube channel?
Yes, throw us some stats.
23,000 likes to 42,000 dislikes.
Well, that's better.
It's it's much better than Charlotte's, where basically everyone hates Charlotte winning. It's more even, but still, that's 42,000 dislikes. That's a lot.
Well, and I think that is also indicative of kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like the coin has already started to flip here. You know, you've already started to lose. You can't get off the sled.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're going to do it, you've got to do it right now.
Yes.
And, you know, like you said, Joshua, before we started, there have been so many times when people get organically over and they've just been completely repressed.
There is nothing that Vince McMahon hated more than someone getting over without his permission.
Who wasn't supposed to, and which makes it ultimately ironic that Chelsea Green has gotten as over as she has organically when Zack Ryder did as well and got punished for it.
And ironically enough, Jey Uso winning this that is the equivalent of Zack Ryder winning the Rumble in 2012. Even though Zack Ryder's a better worker than Jey Uso.
And that's the thing is when you ride the wave like that, like the one time to give Vince credit was Kofi Mania.
Yeah.
Right? Like they rode that wave, and you know, if they didn't beat him with Brock in like 5 seconds, then
yeah,
you know, we might have thought about that more fondly. But you know, at the same time, this I don't like it because it means that somebody, probably Gunther, is gonna lose his title to Jay, but I don't think he's gonna carry it for that long.
No, he's not.
I really don't. I think it's gonna be kind of brief, and then it's gonna go to somebody who they really wanted on.
This is absolutely going to be the textbook definition of flash in a pan.
And that's not a knock necessarily or criticism, but it's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, they can't give a title reign to Jay the length of Cody's.
No, absolutely not.
You cannot do that. The fans will completely reject that.
One reason why, cause there has been a contingent of people that's like 5 seconds after Cody won it, they were sick of him. But Cody can work. Cody is very good at promos. He's very good in the ring.
And the majority of people are also recognizing that Cody is also a lot better than some people who think he's boring. He's not that boring.
No. But my whole thing is this. I was furious when it happened. Now, 48 hours later, I understand why they did it, but I don't agree. Because like we said, how many times has someone gotten organically over and this company just crushed it? I will give them the benefit of the doubt. They're like, hey, this is a new administration. Someone got over organically and they went with it. And I can't knock them for that.
Well, and let's see what they do with this.
Yeah, let's see where it goes.
They've shown that they can change directions if they have to. So this is going to be it's going to be an interesting WrestleMania season. And also, this is the first time that a pay-per-view has genuinely pissed off the fans like this. And it's kind of been refreshing to see the outrage from the marks.
Yeah.
It's been kind of hilarious, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And so I think this is going to work in WWE's favor in the long term. It's just, it was not fun on this night to experience.
No, it was not.
But that being said, there have been way worse men's rumbles.
Yeah.
There have been way worse outcomes of men's rumbles.
We mentioned it earlier. This was not 2022 Rumble.
Correct.
That was awful. Like the booking of that show was terrible. It was lazy. It was boring, and it was awful. And it led to
the worst show of the year, but it was bad.
It led to the worst WrestleMania ever.
Yeah, the ones that even the wrestlers consider dog shit.
Yeah.
But speaking of someone who is the antithesis of dog shit, would you like to hear Skyler's review of this Rumble match?
Yes. And would you also read his outro once you're done?
Yes.
Okay.
The Men's Royal Rumble match. The Men's Royal Rumble match was a tale of two halves. 1 to 15 was a bit of a warm-up because there was not any sort of legit names that are threats to win. The main things you could take away from this section was that Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker are both going to be main eventers in WWE depending on timeline. Penta looked good despite his botch elimination 30 seconds into the match. I show speed is a thing, I guess, and the WWE mid-card being in a weird place. Once Roman Reigns entered at 16, it started to pick up as star wrestler after star wrestler started to appear. It really picked up as the main event guys past and present started appearing. Roman Reigns, John Cena, and CM Punk all being in the ring together with huge pops just looking at each other is amazing. WWE does not have to do any work right now to get stuff over to the fans. The final entrance show this. Sorry, let me try that again. The final entrance sort of show this in how many guys like LA Knight or AJ Styles get pops, and they are clearly upper mid-card guys. Logan Paul did not get super boos, but had go-away heat. I don't know if I agree with that.
It was a mix of legit heat and go-away heat. Yeah, it was both.
Yeah. All of this was coming to a head, especially when Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk all got eliminated. All of this leads to some remarkably interesting feuds for WrestleMania. But where this match died was the winner. Main event Jey Uso won the match, beating John Cena. 4 years ago, you would have asked me, did your sim win that on WWE 2K21?
Yeah.
And yet, here we are.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Do you remember that one video where like that dude was like, I just simulated a year of universe mode and Primo, no, it was Epico. Epico won the WWE title.
I do remember that.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are. This victory does not excite me and makes me question what WWE is thinking. Why not have John Cena win and go after Gunther? Which we've already discussed.
Yeah, we've already litigated that.
To me, this leads me to think Gunther is not going to Mania as champion, because I do not see how you go Gunther versus Jey Uso after WrestleMania after they already had that on Saturday night's main event.
That's the story, though. That's the story that they're... Unless Jey Uso surprises us and goes after Cody. The thing is, the story is Jey Uso losing to Gunther, but he's saying, I know I can beat him. That's the story they're going with.
Yeah.
It's not the world's most interesting story, but it is one.
It is. Well, let's see what they do with it. We will see what happens, but this victory has a lot of questions more than answers given the number of people that could have won. I'm not super angry about it, but simply confused. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
In conclusion, all 4 matches were solid tonight, with each having good stuff. Cody versus Kevin was my easy match of the night, as it was not a dispute.
No.
And both Rumbles were worthy matches, and even the tag team match was good. You say that with a level of incredulity, Skyler. The mileage you give for this match really depends on how you feel about Charlotte Flair and Jey Uso winning. I, Joshua, and Sean have been debating of who those two are going to wrestle, and until we get answers, we will continue to question it. However, I'm not going to doubt Mr. H and his staff. I trust them to figure out, or at the very least have a better booked show than whatever Vince McMahon, fuck you Vince counter 3, or Tony Khan would do, fuck you Tony Khan count 6. With that, I give the show a 7 out of 10. Wow.
Damn.
As we wait to see what WrestleMania picture looks like. But the WWE gravy train does not appear to be stopping. With that, I will see you folk 'S next time.
Could not resist just one last little faux pas.
One last one. He threw it in right at the 11th hour.
Yeah.
So, JoshAgeddon, as we have now entered basically the same length of time as the show went, your overall review and ratings.
If we recorded this Saturday night, this would have been a very long, angry tirade from me. Like, Sean probably would not have been able to get a word in edgewise, because I would have just been going on and on and on and on about how much I hate my life. And how much I'm never asking for the morning shift so I can watch a wrestling show live ever again.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned. But now that I've had time to think about it, this was not a bad show. It's just, I found the winners to be I'm honestly more annoyed with Charlotte winning, because I at least understand why Jay won. Charlotte winning was the most Vince McMahon feeling thing on the show.
Yeah.
And some things just never change. But the matches were all good. The ladder match was absolutely spectacular, and I actually might go and rewatch it later today. If you would have asked me Saturday night, and I did give my grade Saturday night, I said I was going to give this show a 2 out of 10. That was pure rage and anger talking. That is way too harsh. But I still am not particularly thrilled with the winners. While again, this was a fun show, and there were things that I liked. I'm just more... I'm in the mode of I'll see what they end up doing. But for right now, I'm going to give this show a 5 out of 10.
Okay. Well, that was up from where it was even just earlier today.
Yeah, earlier today I was like Bret Hart out of 10, but I was like, no, it wasn't that. No, that's...
Well, the problem is that, like, yes, our scale is different because of the upped standards, but, like, a 4 now is nowhere near what a 4 was in the McMahon administration. You know, it's like a 4 now is still really good compared to that.
A 4 now is like a 7 or an 8 then.
Yeah. You know, and you know, with that in mind, this wasn't my favorite Triple H show.
No.
I don't know if I would say it's the worst because the match quality on the whole was quite good. I really liked the 2 out of 3 falls match. I just would have done the finish a little differently. The women's rumble by and large was good. Maybe the most balanced talent pool. I just would have done the finish a little differently. The ladder match was spectacular. I'm not touching that. That was spot on excellent.
Except maybe a little bit less death.
And well, they gave us just the right amount, hopefully, and the men's rumble was also very good. I just would have done the end a little differently.
I'm sensing a theme here.
You know, it's just, but here's the thing. I'm not willing to lose faith on Triple H and this process just yet. They proved they could turn anything they want to around if they put enough thought into it. Mm-hmm. So I'm willing to let this play out a little bit longer.
As am I.
We might be surprised when it comes to the actual WrestleMania nights what the cards shape up to be. That being said, I'm gonna split the difference. I'm gonna do what I did. I do what I do all the time. I'm gonna sit there as the creamy white Oreo filling and give this a solid 6. Match quality was good. Finishes left something to be desired, but all in all, the road to WrestleMania has left us intrigued as to what's going to happen next. And that's all you can really ask for.
When's the last time we reviewed a show and I gave the lowest rating?
I think it probably was a Vince show.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute, but you know what? That's the interesting thing. There's definitely time to see where this all goes and grows. But right now, we're both about to collapse because it's been 3.5 goddamn hours.
Yeah, I need a monster.
Yeah, I need to make my family dinner. They are literally bones upstairs begging for sustenance. And while I give it to them and while you guys have plenty now on your plate to digest for the next 3.5 hours that you're watching this and a plethora of links in the description to go afterwards.
Dear God.
Thank you all for listening to this wonderful Royal Rumble 2025 review. More reviews to come. As far as Court Martial Podcast is concerned, we will be right back right after this.
And thank you guys so much for listening to the Totally Awesome Podcast. We might do another one when I go to that episode of Raw on the 17th. That should be fun. But we will see. We'll definitely review WrestleMania and maybe Elimination Chamber. We'll see. I don't care about anything AEW does. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.